Welcome to another episode of The Stream Room. It's the podcast about content creation by content creators for content creators. And this week, we have a very special guest from across the pond. Do we say the pond? Is that what we do? I'm just going to say that. We have the lovely Eljayem. Eljayem, do you want to say hi to everyone out there in podcast land of Stream Room?
Hello, podcast. My name's Eljayem.
Great.
Or Eo.
Great.
Or Eeowna if you're LJ, so.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
I want everyone to refer to you as Eeowna from now on, please. It's the official name I've named you. I am now your parents. And that is the name I've chosen for you. Hello, I'm LJ.
And I'm Nicktacular. Hello, guys. Welcome.
How
LJ,
is
I'm going to be
everyone?
honest. You said it so often that I thought that was actually the pronunciation
It's what I
of,
do.
of her name.
You're not the only one.
People, you know? Yeah. It's good to have you guys here. We're actually recording at a different time. So we've always recorded at 10 a.m. in the morning in our times. We have coffees and we have teas and stuff like that. But today, because you're over in BST land, you're in the UK, you're a UKian, we're up late. So this is the Stream Room up late edition tonight.
Like
8:30's late.
Some
Is it?
jazz music.
I mean, compared to 10 a.m., it's pretty late.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. We got to do this tomorrow, right?
Yeah, tomorrow morning we are recording another one as well. Eo, how has your week been? You're in a different stream room. That's not where you normally are. What are you up to?
So I'm at my parents', aka this is my home bedroom, hence
mean my
the animals
house?
all around here. Look at them. I mean, they're literally all just like cartoon animals lining the entire room, you know? Real classy.
Very
Do you have
nice.
like random trees on your bed?
Yeah.
And is that a trash can next to your bed? Like an outdoor trash can?
A
Like
receptacle of some sort?
Don't judge my room. I only just got here, okay? I'm still working on it. I'm still making it look a bit nicer.
Look, it makes sense. If there's one thing that, everyone needs right next to their bed, it's like an outdoor cigarette-looking trash can.
It's a nice bin.
Some like retro.
You can hide the bin right next to the head, though, is my main question.
So you can have snacks in bed and then just throw it in the bin.
That is, yes, I need this.
I'll allow it.
That's pretty top.
Speaking of snacks, because this is the up late edition, before we get into it, I thought, you know what? I might do it properly. I've got myself a lovely crystal glass here, and I figured to celebrate EO and our first up late, I get a nice circular.
It's an old tradition. What's
glass.
going on here?
And I just figured I'd just pick the night off right.
What the hell?
I just figured we'd do it properly.
I've got
and
tea.
Jeez.
And I've also got a Mind the Gap shot glass here. If you can see it, I don't know if it'll focus. It'll probably focus to Danny DeVito.
Oh,
There you go.
yeah.
There you go.
Very UK. And I just figured, we may as well do it right. Do it proper. I did try and wear a tux, but it turns out I don't own one. So that was a bit of a kick in the shins.
Yeah, that happens, yeah.
But I'm actually celebrating this because, Eo, you're one of my longest... this is how I drink Pepsi, by the way. How I drink whiskey, by the way. Eo, you're actually one of my oldest Twitch streamer friends.
Really?
This is my celebration. That I don't know. Yeah, you are. Because I didn't know any Twitch streamers, really. And you're one of the first ones who I actually met because you appeared in my chat and you wouldn't leave.
Yeah, sounds like
No matter how much I mispronounced your name and did everything, you just refused downright to leave. And I started watching you. You tricked me. This is what you did. You came into my stream and I started watching you back, and I realized you're the most cursed streamer I've ever watched. And do you want to maybe give the listeners an idea of what you do on your stream?
All I have to hope is that whoever edits this doesn't put any picture evidence in of the things I've done recently. But one thing, no, don't do it. Don't do it. You will lose subscribers. It's cursed. I figured out when I started streaming that I am unable to get embarrassed. And as time went on further and further, I decided to push the boundaries of what I'm willing to do on the internet for entertainment. And it kind of peaked about the time when I realized that you don't have to stop at having a green screen. You can wear an entire green morph suit and paint your face green and then just be a floating eyes, nose, and mouth and make entertainment that way.
And entertainment is a interesting word. I think that it definitely entertains, enthralls, You can't take your eyes off it. I'll give you that. But okay, so you've been streaming now, EO, for I think it's 18 months. Am I?
Yeah, we're coming
right?
up to 2 years soonish.
Yeah, just 2 years soonish. And how did you start? What was your first go live, and why did you do it? If we want to start at the start to let people get to know you.
So I actually started off on YouTube first before I clicked go live on Twitch. I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for the pandemic, but I was stuck inside. I was bored, and I was like, oh, I've always wanted to try content creation. I have nothing though. I had no webcam. I had my internet blocks me because I was in university halls from using your phone as a webcam. So at that point, streaming wasn't really accessible. So I whipped out my iPad and I started playing 2 Point Hospital on YouTube and got a few videos in because I decided I didn't want to spend any money until I knew I liked the whole process. So I did a couple of videos and I was like, you know what? I'm really digging this. I think I want to take it a bit more seriously. So then I got a capture card. Finally, after like a month of trying, got a webcam. And then I had a video that got, at the time, which was, well, still quite a lot of views. It got like, it did way better than my other videos. Got a couple of hundred at the time of Splatoon 2. So,
which is huge when you're a brand new creator. Even on my side channel, I'd say that a couple hundred views, I'm like, woohoo!
Yeah,
let's
definitely.
go, right?
Let's do it.
Can I ask you a question, right? If you got a couple hundred views on a video today, because I know you don't have a large YouTube presence, you have a good YouTube presence for a streamer, I'd say. But you're not like, I'm not saying you're huge, right? Do you feel like, and I know this is a bit of a tangent, if you got the same amount of views that you got on that Splatoon one today, you'd be happy with the release?
Yeah, I feel like for me at the moment, views aren't something that's like the aim on my YouTube. I'm kind of aiming for comments. So the main comment I'm aiming for is this really made me laugh, or like the classic, like, oh, this channel's like criminally underrated. Those are like the two that I'm looking for. So I don't really mind if the video flops, if the comments have been like, this was one of your best videos, or I love the editing, this made me laugh out loud. And I feel like changing my perspective from views to are people enjoying the content regardless of how many people watched has been a lot healthier for me, and has made me enjoy it more.
I also know exactly whose video you watched to get that idea. If you happen to learn that from a guide, it wasn't one of mine, very jealous, but I know who it is from and they're incredibly talented. And I'm not going to spruik them today. In fact, I'm not going to pass it on. So you had a Splatoon video do well. And how did you go from there? You went on into streaming?
Yeah, so my first stream was, I want to say, about 8 minutes. I tried to do Splatoon 2 and I was very shy, which I know is wild now when I literally just scream all the time. And you actually couldn't hear me over Tom playing COD in the background. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to try again when Tom isn't playing COD and yelling at his game. And try again. And the next stream went a lot better. I think it was a couple of hours and had a few chatters in and it kind of went from there.
I think you've grown quite quickly as well, comparatively. And can I ask, why do you feel like that is? Because I've pulled up your Twitch tracker. It's a hobby of mine to stare at people's Twitch trackers, right? And within the first like 6 months, you were at like 35, 40 viewers sometimes. Like
wow, that's
you
very
grew
impressive.
Yeah, it's very quick. I'd love to know what makes you think that, despite obviously most of the reasoning people wanted to come back was because they loved hearing Tom in the background, who's your partner. Why do you think that growth was like that?
So I had a big turning point when I was streaming, and I was seeing friends on higher viewers, and especially in the type of games I play are kind of typically comfy, cozy games. And I had this turning point where I was sat there and I was like, do I need to be comfy, cozy to do well in this category? And I was like, you know what, screw it. Like, what's more important is me being me on screen, and we'll go from there and figure things out on how to grow with me being my authentic self than me thinking I need to tone it down, be quieter. And I actually think that it turned into one of my biggest ways to stand out was the fact that I wasn't being comfy cozy. I was screaming things at villagers while everyone else is talking lovely things about them, and so I'm just being cursed while everyone else in the category was playing it comfy and cozily, and I'm there eating pickles. And
I don't think you actually said. I think you said in my general idea of games, but you mean Animal Crossing was the main category that you fell into.
I was doing Splatoon, Animal Crossing, and Pokemon. I only really changed from Pokemon when I was starting to do better in Animal Crossing, and Pokemon streams weren't bringing in the audience that I decided I then wanted to grow up on.
Ooh, can you talk? Well, so what was the audience coming from Pokemon that wasn't?
So Animal Crossing was people similar ages to me. We had a big mix of people at university and adults and stuff like that. I was getting barely any adults when I was streaming Pokemon. The whole vibe of chat was different. The atmosphere was different. And I decided that it was, because it was so early on, I really wanted to control what I wanted to build up on in terms of my audience. And I didn't want it to be mostly kids.
That's really interesting, because I think a lot of people who start off streaming, they just want the views. They don't think about community. I feel like you did just then, because I know that when I started, it was basically just, I'm doing this. Oh, people are watching me. This is great. I had no expectation in my head about, I hope I can foster this type of community. It kind of, fell later on. But if I had that foresight, I think that would have been such a good starting point, is to be the change, obviously, that you want to see in terms of a community building thing from the foundation up. So hats off to you for that. I think all small streamers should learn that if you're in a toxic place that you don't really enjoy being in, then it's probably not going to be for the best in the future.
Yeah, there's just like so many people, it's one thing that they're not aware of. It completely just slips their mind. They're just kind of excited that their people are there. There's more, their people are returning, and then it's a complete thing. They never think about it until it's like, I guess, too late in some circumstances.
Yeah, I know that I went through a lot of those things with Minecraft as well. Because when I first played Minecraft, I did a lot of servers and I did a lot of stuff like that. And I had all these younger people coming in, and I was like, oh, I'll just put up with them because they're just young, blah, blah, blah. But recently I've gotten back into hardcore Minecraft, and I've realized if young people come in and they don't understand the vibe of the room, you just ban them. So my unban requests right now are filled with like 8 or 9 unban requests from the last week, just saying, I'll be good.
Yeah. I'm hoping you can fill that out, because I gave it to you 2 weeks ago and I still haven't heard back from...
Actually, can we talk about this for a second, Reapz? Yeah. I was banned from your chat the other day, and I wasn't unbanned for a very long time, good sir.
Was it even? I don't know who did it. It's my mods who do it, but I always make the joke, as soon as LJ goes into the stream, I was like, ban this man. And then they follow suit, and I don't know how long it was.
It was Evie, wasn't it? It was Evie.
Yeah, it was Evie. He's a lot more quiet today than usual. But
I came back 2 days later. I waited around for 20 minutes, and I was not unbanned, and I thought, well, I guess that'll be me today.
Oh.
Yeah, 20 minutes. And so I came back 2 days later, and I was unbanned, and I was like, well, I'm glad someone caught it.
I'm going to have to talk to my bots about that, because usually it goes for 30 seconds or so, but apparently
I think they just
20 minutes. Okay, that's how bad. I'm going to sort that out.
It's totally fine. I was being an absolute shithead because that's one of my favorite things is to join people's chats who I care about and think they're funny, and I like to troll them.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
But someone who I don't troll very often is you, EO, because when I sit in your chat, I am so impressed by your activity. Like I am so impressed by your chat activity. Like, it is wild how fast your chat can be, how just also in tune they are. I feel like sometimes when you enter a stream's chat, it can be like 5 or 6 different little groups, all kind of like not like doing their different things and stuff like that. There's very few of them. They have this one hive mind that just focuses perfectly. But I feel like yours is so focused on whatever you're doing, or your community meme or anything like that, or whatever your plans are. And I would love to hear your thoughts about some of that, because it is so impressive. And I'm incredibly envious, and I would love to be able to try to do that. But I don't know how to focus people down into like one hive mind.
Well, they call themselves a hive mind, which is always a good place to start. And they love to chant one chat, one brain constantly.
Is this a cult?
Yeah.
They call themselves that too, but I have discovered that a lot of streamers have chats who call themselves cults, so it's not exactly unique at this point. I'm pretty sure LJ's chat has started cultifying.
Well, they started one because I went on a bit of a rant. And I said, why is it that every single 100 or 200 viewer less streamer, why is it they have a cult? Why is it that is the go-to joke that every community has? Oh, we're a cult. And I made on this big rant, and they were like, oh, you don't like cults then, LJ? Guess what? We are one now. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to turn this down because I like the activity. So people legs banger. Let's go.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then you joined, and I went on the same rant, and you were like, I mean, I've got a cold as well.
With those fingers just going, by the way.
So, yeah. But yeah, like, do you have any thoughts about, like, why do you think your community has such a strong community sense? I would love your thoughts on it.
I feel like you can be united if chat live to troll you is one thing. So chat I try and pull one over on chat, and then chat will rebel and try and pull one over on me, and everyone loves that. The biggest thing I wanted to make sure I had a community of is people who are willing to make fun of me. I don't want to be like on a pedestal. I want chat to just come at me with everything they got and not have any fear about, me being like, this is my space. Like, you can't make fun of me, which I think has helped. And then also I did a lot of streams that were like me versus chat. So we'd have competitions. If chat win, then I'd give them a really cursed emote that they wanted, or I'd like eat something. If I'd win, I'd get my way and get rid of a cursed emote. And when you pit yourself against the whole of chat, especially in situations where it's up to them to like vote, or for example, I did like a villager hunt, and all they had to do was, if someone got the name of the next villager, then they'd win. So of course they start coming up with ways and like sending people with different villagers and coordinating the best way to get me to eat a pickle. And I think if you just do it enough, then chat, of you versus chat, then chat become just one entity that are trying to get you to like eat the pickle, and that kind of unites them. And I try and make it like accessible so that people know exactly what's happening no matter when you come into the stream.
That's amazing.
That's really interesting, because Ludwig has a similar theory. He has a similar theory that he says that if the chat is kind of the way he reacts to a meme, he knows whether or not the meme will continue. So like he always says that, like, the he's short, or the sniper get down, or the chest hole, all those things like that, all these deformities and reasons that his chat makes fun of him and stuff like that. He says that all of those started because he knew exactly how to react to it in order to encourage chat, because they all wanted to keep doing it. And it sounds very similar to what you're saying there. It's like you're giving them something to rally behind, which is incredibly, I don't know, I've never figured out how to do that. And I think it's just so powerful for building a community feel.
I think I'm in trouble today though, because yesterday I had to end stream early, and I knew all along that I was going to end after 2 hours. So they started trolling me, and we got to the 2 hour part, and I was like, if you don't stop trolling me, I'll end the stream. And they were like, I bet you won't. I bet you won't. It hit 2 hours. I knew I had to go, so just ended stream and left them in chat.
You menace.
Oh my God, there's one chose like, it was me. I made her quit. She's going to hate me for this.
Oh, that is absolutely the best troll I've ever heard that you've done.
If you ending streams on cliffhangers when you just like end and then host someone, is some of the funniest things I've ever done. Like, you just end up, your DMs are just full with like, did the stream, did what happened? Like, did it auto host?
Okay?
And you're like, no, I wanted to end on a cliffhanger because not enough streamers do it. So
dun, dun, dun. Will we find Anka? Tune in next week on Eowna's stream. I have a question for you. How early in your Twitch journey did you start TikTok?
I think it was relatively late. I want to say it was not the Christmas that's just been, but the Christmas before that was when. So I had an old TikTok account. And it was not doing very well. I tried my best, and I heard someone say that if you start a new TikTok account and start posting your best TikToks from your old TikTok account, then the algorithm will like you better. So I decided, screw it, I'm going to try restarting, started a whole new TikTok, and then started uploading a few of my better ones, or the ones that I thought were better from my old TikTok. There was a whole mix of like gaming, just me, like it was a whole mix. And I started on this new TikTok only following gaming creators, like really tailoring this whole account to being, at that point, Animal Crossing, I think is what I went for. And the views started to pick up on that TikTok. And then I started making a lot more TikTok content.
Because I think something that I learned off you was, because for me, I always looked at TikTok and I thought, oh God, this is so hard. I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me. I tried really hard to get into it and I just couldn't quite click. And I think that's actually most streamers. I think most streamers look at TikTok and it is very backwards and confusing for them, because when you think about it, if you're getting into streaming, you're getting into the idea of doing long format of content, right? Like 4-hour long content streams, whereas TikTok is the further opposite end. And talking to you a lot is kind of what sparked me to understand the algorithm a little bit. And I want to ask you this, and I kind of know your answer already, but I'm giving you the chance to maybe blow off some steam about this, because every time it comes up in my chat, you are one of the first people to write, yes, it does. But do you feel like as a streamer, TikTok has been helpful or influential or powerful in your growth?
Yeah, TikTok and Instagram Reels are probably the reason I got Twitch Partner. I have no other discoverability. It is purely me sitting in the category and TikTok and Instagram. And I had a look on Twitch Tracker the other day, because you can see how many followers you got while in a category. And then if you add all the categories up, you can see how many followers you get offline. And like it's over 3,000 to 4,000, I think, followers is just while I was offline. And I wouldn't say I'm the best at like networking. So most of that will be TikTok or Instagram. So I think TikTok doesn't have the best conversion from viewers to people who click on your links. But to me, that doesn't really matter as long as someone does it. And the reason I knew I was doing it right was, to me, the most valuable people you can bring in from TikTok and Instagram are the people who made accounts just to watch you.
Interesting.
Those are the people who are going to...
made accounts on Twitch or on TikTok?
So they went, I made a Twitch account because I saw you on Instagram or I saw you on TikTok and I wanted to join in on the fun. You're the first person I followed. Can you explain Twitch to me?
Oh, that's really...
That's a powerful conversion. Yeah.
Wow. Those are the people who have stayed around the longest, I think.
You also said something really interesting in there that I want to highlight. And I think a lot of smaller creators would not look at it this way. But you said it doesn't matter if it has a low conversion rate, as long as some people will. And I think that's like the perfect way to look at it, right? Because something I always say to people is, when you're starting out, you're not trying to get to 100 average viewers. You're just trying to get a few people in your chat, 2 or 3 people in your chat. Like, do what you can, do everything you can to get those people in your chat. And I think a lot of people hear the words TikTok has a bad conversion rate and they just don't bother. But it's like, you're right, Eo. It is a matter of, well, if it has a low conversion rate, who cares? Because you just need 2 or 3 people when you're sitting there with no one in your chat.
Yeah. And then I guess if you do it long enough, eventually that low conversion rate is going to equal, could equal 10, 20, 30 people. It's just going to take a bit longer.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I also think it's the thing of like, people may view TikTok as a funnel into their Twitch channel or Instagram or whatever it is. But you've also got to think like outside, it's like you're also establishing a base outside of Twitch, which we've talked about, and how influential that can be, and how maybe there's sponsors out there who don't know what Twitch is, but you better believe they know what TikTok is. You better believe they know what Instagram is, and they know how much kind of spread they have. Because if you go, oh yeah, I get around 100, 200, 300 people watching me live, compared to I get 50,000 people looking at my posts a day by, putting out one TikTok, you can see how they're going to be like, oh, let's go with that, shall we? Rather than the individual platform that it is.
I think it's incredibly powerful, and watching your approach to it and also picking your brain was exactly what set me up. And then I learned it all, did it all, and I had some growth, and then I was kind of like, damn, I'm bored of this now, and I gave up on it. But I think it's incredibly valuable, and I think I don't think I would have seen success had I not picked your brain about it and had you not given me feedback, which is true about a lot of things actually. One thing a lot of people probably don't realize is that I bother you a lot. Like, I bother you a lot.
I bother you back,
I will
to
message
be fair.
Eo. Well, you won't bother me unless I start the conversation. And my conversation normally starts with me sending you like 6 bloody paragraphs of stuff about streaming and content creation, and then going, thoughts? Question mark. But I pick your brain a lot, and I think it's been incredibly valuable, because I think if someone looked at your content, and I hope this comes across the right way, if someone looked at your content, right, they probably wouldn't go, wow, this person's putting all this thought and care and time and energy into planning out exactly how this should look and sound. And this cursed cosplay is going to be put on this, and the reason it's going to work is for this. And they wouldn't see that, and they wouldn't see all those little chess pieces being moved. But then when I talk to you in the background, I think you're one of the few creators who put so much more thought into their content and how it's going to work for their audience than anyone else. Like I've spoken to guys with like 1,000 viewers and they're like, yeah, I just go live and hope for the best. But I talk to you and you're like, yeah, that's not going to work for me. So I'm going to do this a very specific way. And I'd love to pick your brain a little bit about how do you go about planning a stream? If that's something you want to leak. I know I don't know if I should leak this for you. We can cut this.
No, it's fine. I'm good with this.
But you plan out clippable moments.
Yeah, I clip farm. I call it clip farming.
Oh yeah.
I will. So it doesn't always happen. Like some good clips are genuinely like when I figured out I was wearing a green shirt. Like some of that, I didn't plan that. I only figured that out when I turned my green screen on, and then I just rolled with it because a big turning point for my content was losing control is fine. I got to the point at one point when I was planning things so much that I was nervous about deviating from my plan. And a big turning point with me was realizing that like, if something goes wrong, just roll with it. Just meme it out and you'll be fine. But yeah, what I'll sometimes do is I'll like see, I don't know, I'll read that there's a glitch in Animal Crossing and then I'll figure out what I'm going to do with it. And I know full well that is going to be a clip. So I make sure everything's...
smart.
Like now I've got my audio split. It's a lot easier, but I'll make sure everything's recording, everything before it. I'm all ready. And then it's like sometimes chat will be like, I'll be like, oh, I'm trying to find the right music. No, I'm just getting the clip ready so it's easier for me to edit.
Yeah.
But I think it's something people, I don't know if it's people don't talk about it because they don't do it or whether it's just so common and people don't want to show the cogs moving behind the scenes. But I normally I try and plan at least one TikTok before I go live, or at least one idea. Or if it happens in the moment, I'll try and make sure that it will work well for content. Like I will re-explain what I'm doing before I do it.
Which is, I think that's rare. And that's when you told me that you do that. That's how I started seeing any kind of success on TikTok. Is because rather than going and doing the things and then finding the clips afterwards, I had in my head, oh, I'm going to this zone in Pokemon Arceus today. I know there are 6 unknowns. And so every time I got close to one, I'd go, if you're looking for an unknown, here it is right here, throw the ball. And then I'd hit the clip button. And I got that. That's how I actually ended up getting like 800,000 views just off those. And then I converted that to a system and I got like another 2 million, right? Which is, nothing compared to what you do. But at the same time, I can vouch for you saying that that's so powerful because you gave me that advice and I was like, okay, I'll try it out. And I went and tried it out and holy crap, it is powerful. Like it works so well, like incredibly well.
That's honestly phenomenal. And I mean, again, obviously it depends on like whether how often, you talk to all these streamers, but like, I feel like a lot of people don't, I feel like the majority probably don't, put that much time and effort into planning those clip farming those moments and really making sure, or more specifically as well, what you said, which is what I like is that if something does happen, you try and re-explain it so that way you can kind of make it like you convert that to a TikTok way more easily than from that natural moment and trying to cut around it.
I think a lot of people struggle with context when they make clips into TikToks. They lack context and there's only so much you can do with like a text box above or a voiceover. Like sometimes the best context you can give is yourself giving context in the moment. So I try and be mindful of that. I think it's just like, also, some of efficiency comes from laziness. Like, I can't be bothered to edit something down that's going to be difficult to edit, so I'll just make it easier to edit by filming it better.
I think that's, everyone can take that because I know that sometimes you struggle over it. I did a clip and I was like, how do I convert this into a context that people understand? And I over-edited it and it just became this like complete mishmash of things that it was just, colors on a screen. And sometimes it is about that personality that you can give to a clip because most of the time, sometimes people may just be looking for, different, hidden in Pokemon and stuff like that. But there is a time where they're like, oh, this guy, this gal is funny. There's a natural charisma about them. I'm going to follow because of that rather than the content that they're giving me. It's for them. And I think a lot of people shy away from that. I think a lot of people just want to give out those clip-worthy moments of here's these hidden things, but you yourself are kind of like, this is my personality on top of what I can give you. Because if you put them side by side, I know which one I'm going to pick.
I think you mesh it though. I've seen you do little informational things, which do quite well. They always appear on mine. And I've seen you do the cursed ones as well. And I think one reason why it does well, no matter what for you as well, is because your audience is focused. If that's a fair way of putting it, you've got your niche. And I have noticed you've been trying to break out or spread that niche a little bit over the last, I'd say 4 months or so. Because you, as you said, you started with Splatoon and Pokemon, then you moved away into Animal Crossing. And I think you kind of focused on Animal Crossing for a long time there. Like maybe a year, pretty much solely Animal Crossing.
Yeah,
right?
my long plan paid out though. I had a hint. Basically Animal Crossing was dying out a little bit. The updates weren't great. And I just had this feeling. I was like, I think they're going to come out with something. I think they're going to come out with a big update. Like, they've been quiet, and I decided, I was like, you know what? It's not the biggest risk in the world. I'm just going to double down. So people around me were moving out of Animal Crossing as the game was getting stale. And I was like, I'm going to just plan out my content, come up with ways to keep it interesting, new challenges, new stuff like that. And I doubled down, and then came the announcement that there was going to be, well, first of all, that Brewster was coming back and there was going to be a direct for it, which instantly got more views. And then I doubled down again and started streaming longer and harder and posting even more content about Animal Crossing. And then the release was that there was going to be a massive update. And my plan worked. That was a very conscious decision. Yeah. I went for very clippable moments for that.
I think it was roughly August where you told me, you were like, an update's coming or something like that. And then I remember thinking to myself, like in December or November, being like, damn, she knew. She called this. Like, she called this because you, in August, you were around 100 average or something. And then by the end of December and at the end of November, I was like, EO is now like doubled, like 200 average viewers, like easy. You'd go live and just, you instantly had 200 there, and they were all like your community so actively there for you. And it was just wild. I was like, wow, you were so on top of it. You were just aware. Do you think the fact that you knew, right? Do you think that comes from the fact that you are very ingrained in these communities? Like I feel like a lot of people who are streamers, sometimes they stream a category for the sake of it, right? They don't actually want to be in the category. They don't love the category. And that can often be very easy to see that something there isn't as fun. Do you think the fact that you actually really enjoy this stuff made it easier for you to niche down and like focus so heavily?
Yeah, I think I really love all things Nintendo. Like, I can't review games because it'll be a Nintendo game and I'll be like, yes, I love it. And everyone's like, that's what you say about every game. And I'm like, I know, but like, I just do. Like, I can't explain it. So you can give me any Nintendo game, but especially Animal Crossing, I don't think it's not per se like the game they've made. It's also what I've made it into. Like, I've kind of spun it in my own, it's kind of, it's not really like sandboxy, but it's enough that you can turn it into your own thing. And I kind of like games like that where like, I struggle with like story games where everything's linear. Like, I need to be able to mess around and make it into my own, almost my own game, and make my own games within it for me to really feel like I'm thriving with the content. But I think another reason I had success with the update was because I thought it was coming. I had prepared some things, and I had noticed before that some things had gone more viral were moments when I was in cosplay. So the day of the Animal Crossing Direct, I had planned a big cosplay. I'd bought stuff for it. So before the Direct even happened, I had over 100 people watching me paint myself green. And then by the time the Direct happened, I was sitting higher up in the category because people were already there getting ready for the Direct, watching me turn into a green person. And then when I posted the clips, then they also did very well because I was dressed as one of the characters in Animal Crossing, but terribly.
Yeah, you have a very unique, and that's a really interesting concept as well there, because when you think about it in the grand scheme, when you think of Animal Crossing, you're right. It's comfy cozy. And as you said earlier, you were like, no, I don't want to be that. I want to be myself. I want to do all those things. And I think that when you go to the Animal Crossing category or categories like this sort of thing, there are kind of 2 or 3 main pieces of content you see from everyone, right? You see there's that person over there doing villager hunting. and they have a little thing in the bottom. It's like a ticket thing, and it shows how many tickets they've spent. There's the treasure islands, and then there's the comfy cozy. Today we're building X, and they're just literally sat there quietly, like, "Hey guys, today we're gonna build this and do this and that, blah 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 blah." And those are the kinds of things. And then what you see there, smack bang in the top of the category, a lot of the time, is you dressed as an owl. Badly. And it's like, you're like, okay, well, I got to find out what's going on here. And you got to click it, right? Like, you don't blend in, you stand out, and you stand very proud in that. And I think that's something a lot of people would be kind of scared or embarrassed to do. Or they'd fall into thinking, oh, the audience in this category probably only wants X, right? They wouldn't be willing to give that a try. And I don't know. I think it's amazing. I actually think it's very unique. One of the most unique ways of doing the content on the platform.
I think I just have fun. If I have fun, then everything falls into place. The minute I'm not enjoying something is the minute my content's bad. Yeah. So if I like, it's kind of like, whilst what chat enjoys is also important, or if I need to be able to have fun, and that's the number one thing that makes my streams, like, if I'm not having fun with the game, I will just change it, like, regardless of what the views are, because at the end of the day, nothing is going to be good content if I'm miserable doing it.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think a lot of people, when they do view a category, they don't realize that you are a thumbnail. You don't know what you're being thumbnailed as, but you are continuously a thumbnail. So the more interesting scenes that you have, or costumes, or anything that stands out against the person A in bottom right of screen, the game in background, will really make people want to click on you. And it's genius that, obviously with these cosplays, even though you may say you do them poorly, it's for a cause, because again, it's such a big, like, red blinking light. It's like, this isn't what's supposed to happen in this category. Why is my mouse getting closer and closer to clicking on it? And then when they come in and see that it is kind of this environment that's more creative than others, then I feel that's a definite draw that a lot of people don't have.
Have you ever farmed your thumbnail? I call it thumbnail farming, when I stay on a scene slightly longer, just to try and get the world's most cursed thumbnail for just a little bit.
I've actually done that a couple times in the past when something crazy is going on. I'll be like, I'll stay on this a little bit longer just because I want people to just see this in the directory.
When I know I'm on backfill for the front page, I'll do it as well. So, like, if I know I might get thrown up on the carousel in any way, I'll, like, actively try and, like, just put a stupid face on, or I'll make my webcam a bit bigger, or things like that, because it just catches the eye a bit better.
Yeah.
The other night when we were playing Minecraft, I'd built a giant willy out of blocks, and I kept telling people it was a rocket ship. The rocket ship, everyone, I meant to say, not a willy. And I was kind of sat there and I saw my views jump by a little bit, and I thought that could be backfill. And I was like, anyone want to see the rocket ship? I ran back.
I think people forget how calculated every move can be when you're a streamer. Even if it looks like you're just, like, messing around, it doesn't mean you didn't calculate how to mess around effectively.
Yes.
On stream.
Definitely.
No, 100%. It's funny what you said about the just have fun thing, because that's something we've talked about a lot as well behind the scenes. Is I'll always come to you with some grandiose idea about content creation and why I'm feeling pointless, or this or that, or whatever it is. And you always turn around and go, yeah, but why don't you just go back to just having fun? And that's how you got there in the first place. And I'll be like, yeah, that's a good point. I'll go do that. And I go do that and I have a really good time and my views are much better. And you're like, yeah, see, just enjoy yourself. And I'm like, yeah, right. All right. Well, I'll stop sending 6 paragraphs.
I feel like people forget, like, this is only the dream job if you're having fun. Like, you're not going to be living your dream if you're miserable playing stuff you don't want to play. So I try and remember that I want to make this into my dream job. I've got to have a good time doing it and love doing it.
So, sorry to bring this up, and of course, feel free not to answer this, but is this like your full-time thing, or is it like a part-time thing compared to what you've got going on in real life? Like, where do you see Twitch in your overarching, life?
Ish. When I first started, I was doing my PhD. So one of the reasons I could never have done the streaming thing before was because pre-pandemic I was in the lab 9 till 5 every single day. Pandemic hit, we weren't allowed inside the labs, and for the whole future from then on, you were limited with the number of people in the lab. And then I started writing up, which doesn't require you to be in uni at all. And then a couple of months ago I got my PhD. And I was like, I'm doing like, I would say I'm on a livable amount on Twitch at the moment, but not like comfortable. And my PC was struggling, and university approached me and was like, oh, do you want to teach on a part-time basis? And I was like, right, bet, because I just want to get some new parts for my PC and get a whole new setup. So for the last 3 or 4 months, I've been a teaching fellow at uni. So by day, I teach chemistry at university. By night, I scream at chat. I live 2 very different lives. So the teaching stuff stops for the summer, and then I've got to reevaluate how I feel. I honestly do love content creation, and I have the overarching goal to make it a full-time thing. But I also have the I don't want gaming to be it for me.
Yes.
I do chemistry, so I'm a woman in STEM, and I'm also a queer woman in STEM, which are 2 very, very underrepresented areas of STEM at the moment, especially in the UK. It's a big topic at the moment. So one of my big goals is to mix like my streamer and content creating life with being a chemist, and to try and get some ability there, because I do a lot of outreach events, which is going to kids and trying to get them to take science. And I want to the overarching goal is to not just have it as gaming, and to have a scientific side of my life as well, and merge the 2 that way.
That's really cool, because I think that is an achievable goal. And definitely now that you kind of already have this, you seem like a person who very much plans out how this can work. And I think you have, you can see where it can be, but now it's just the kind of building it up to, is this possible, or how can I make this possible? Because I think a lot of people start streaming with no kind of idea of where they want to go or why they're doing it. We talked about this before. They just start and they're like, oh, actually, I didn't really enjoy streaming. I enjoy watching it, and I enjoy, obviously the fame that they get from it and everything, and I want that. But doing it's not for me. Actually, YouTube's more for me, or TikTok's more for me. So it's nice to see that you're kind of like, I want to do this, but not specifically gaming. Because I know a lot of people, when you say Twitch, they're like, oh, you play games for a living. And in the back of my mind, it's always like, no. So I just say I'm like a freelance video editor, just because it's so much easier to go around that. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think you're dead on, because gaming is great. But I think it is very much an avenue that maybe not a lot of people will see success from, or maybe even enjoy what they think. Because, once you do anything, you talk about the Q&A testers, where they just got to play the same level over and over and over and get all the bugs out. What they loved is taken away from them. And I know that there's times when it's like, I don't want to play this game on stream, because it sucks all the life out of it. People are just going to be trolling me or whatever. So yeah, interesting.
Can we talk, because you mentioned the women in STEM and queer women in STEM. Can we talk a little bit about a really cool opportunity you had recently on the 26th to be a part of the Gamer Awards?
Oh yeah, that was so cool.
So tell us a bit about that.
I got approached. I thought this email was spam, and I nearly deleted it. It was I think I'm allowed to say, it was in tiny, tiny font, and it was like, hi, we're Twitch. Would you like to be on the front page presenting the Gamer Awards?
They do use tiny font, don't they, now that you mention it? They really do use small font. If Twitch, if you're listening to this, I apologize, but you guys got some tiny ass font, all right?
So I was just like this close to the screen, be like, this can't be real. Like, this cannot be real. So I was like, screw it, what am I going to lose? They're not asking for money from me. I'll just say yes and see what happens. Turns out it was real. It was a pretty cool event. Obviously, Twitch tweeted out our faces and stuff, which was really cool. I've been on the front page before, but not for Twitch. And it was just a really cool opportunity to sit there, talk about all the cool games that are coming up that have queer representation, and talk about games that we love. And it brought in a whole new crowd of people, and the awards were really cool. And it sparked me to want to look into more games that have queer representation or queer developers. And it made me realize how underdeveloped that area is, and how, their shortlist wasn't a lot of games. And you could tell the games were almost clutching at straws at some points to get them. The lists weren't extensive. And also just the things and the way the people who got the awards presented themselves and talked so passionately about increasing representation was incredible. And it made me feel like I need to, keep pushing. And at the moment, I'm in talks with the university about improving their Pride events. especially in chemistry, that I was fed up with the generic email of, yeah, there's homophobia is bad. Happy Pride, everyone. And that's it. And I was like, you know, you've got queer lecturers, you've got students, you've got everyone. How about we do a little bit more and highlight some of the people in the department who are, you know, LGBTQA plus and go from there to make people feel comfortable. So now I'm a member of staff at uni. I've got a lot more pull. So I'm using that to extend my reach of LGBTQA plusness into the universe.
Nice. Very nice.
That's fantastic.
I think a lot of people won't understand kind of some of the difficulties of that underrepresentation. But I think it is incredibly important. And I know there's sort of things for me, like I don't want to go into it, but there are things for me personally that I don't see in media much, right? That are really deep parts of my life and my family history. And when I see those moments, it really resonates with who I am and it makes me feel so much better. And I think that's something that when I was watching the Gamer Awards as well, that I was like, oh, wow, there really isn't much here, as you said, and it must be incredibly difficult. And to add extra difficulty to that, I believe you also happen to have a little bit of trouble when you switched over to special events and got your time, if that's correct. Do you want to talk about it or no?
So
Good judging.
the Gamer Awards ended early. So most of us were on like third or fourth or second on the carousel with the Gaming Awards first. I was the last segment on the front page, which meant that I got put into the first position. So I was sat there on like just about my normal views. And then I blink and I'm like, oh boy, here we go. So I did what any person does and just goes, just chatting, 2 seconds, follow bot. And I was like, here we go, boys. So I sang a little song. I have a follow bot song that I sing that we're getting follow botted as I was turning off all my alerts. Cause like, I don't know, I'm someone who has the LGBTQA plus tag. I have a chronic illness tag on as well. Like it's not my first rodeo with this kind of thing. So I just clicked my button and was like, cool, let's go.
Yeah.
But yeah, follow bots,
I think
they're fine.
Well, you probably get them more often than others. Because as you said, like I think if anyone doesn't understand this, there's a kind of a sad fact that the LGBTQIA plus tag and even the ally tag to a lesser degree causes people to get follow botted because there are trolls out there who go after that, which is wild. It is wild that they've got so little to do in their life there's something they do for fun. But and I know that being a part of the Gamer Awards, you were worried about this. You messaged me and you were like, oh, it's really, really cool opportunity. But at the same time, yeah, I got to deal with this thing, which isn't that just like, it just sucks so much that is something that you have to even put in your space of mind, right? Like you can't just be like, yes, 100% yes, let's go. Awesome. Zero downside. But it's just, sadly, it is just a part of being a content creator in your space. And that just, I don't know, man. I know it sounds dumb just to keep saying it sucks, but it really does. In the end of the day, it's the only way to express it, really.
Follow bots are like mostly fine for me. They are what they are. You turn off your alerts. Hate raids are probably not so easy to just like instantly get over. Especially with BTTV. I don't think a lot of people talk about this, but there's a function there which means that you can't clear chat. And most people have that turned on. Like when a moderator clears chat, if you have BTTV, this thing ticked, it won't clear it.
Oh.
So it'll leave it on screen for all these people. So I've kind of trained chat. I've been through this with the regulars. I do this thing where I train them to handle situations, because the last thing you want to do as a streamer is deal with a situation how you want to deal with it, but chat not deal with it the way you need it to move forward from the situation. So every now and again, I'll train them. I'll say, oh, by the way, if this happens, I'd like you to react like this. So I've trained them to see if there's any homophobic messages, they now, regardless of what's happening, don't address the person and will spam as many emotes as they can in chat to just move it. So even if you have BTTV, you're just going to see a bunch of like gay flags and pride flags and everything. So even the people who could still see it on their screen don't. Because I personally am not triggered by the messages they show, but that doesn't mean someone in chat won't be.
Yeah.
That's what I stole that from Co-Carnage as well. So Co-Carnage mentioned that anytime something bad happens, he has his entire audience use a command called like good vibes or something like that. And it just like everyone just gets a bunch of emotes spammed. And that's when I stole the vibes emote. Like I got a thing called vibes that anyone can type and my bot will spit back like 3 whole lines worth of like good positive emotes. And I've tried to make it so the chat does it in a few situations, such as when I get raids, especially if it's smaller raids, like good smaller raids, because I want them to feel hyped. You know what I mean? In a weird way, it's like I want to thank them for raiding me, but also I want to encourage them to come back and keep. But also I've asked them in times where it's like someone does something bad, or we get a little hate raid, or any of these things like that. And I've seen yours do it. You don't even have to ask them a lot of the time. Where for me, I would be like, hey, let's get some vibes in here, everybody. But for you, your chat is just, again, so you've got such a strong community, I guess is like the best thing. And I'm so amazed every time I go in there and see it.
I feel like people underestimate, like people sometimes think that it's on, like they've got to encourage it using their mods, but your regular viewers are just as important, if not more important, because sometimes people are somewhat scared of the little sword icon. And maybe it doesn't feel quite the same when it's coming from that. But if they just see loads of VIPs acting in a certain way, they'll be like, oh, they're VIPs. I'm gonna do what they do because they know what they're doing. So I think a lot of the community can come down to not just your mods, but your regulars in instilling behaviors that you want to see throughout the rest of your chat.
I'm more fascinated with obviously a side that I don't see, because we are all from, you may not notice, we're from Australia. And obviously we're usually bloody. You sent us down here is all we're saying. So just what I would like to obviously ask is we talk about Twitch in general over here. Like when people reach out to you from Twitch, I think we have an amazing staff base over here that reaches out, and they're very hands-on and they always like give you feedback and stuff. How do you feel over there with your Twitch representation of UK? Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's something that can be improved on? Do you feel like you have a reason to go like, oh, by the way, hate rated, followed botted, just want you to know? Do you feel like you get a response from that, or it's just kind of out into the ether and they could do a lot better to deal with it?
It sucks. It's really bad. I have not, the first time I've been in contact with someone genuinely from Twitch was for the Gamer Awards. I have never, even front page slots, nothing, everything like that. I don't think I'm in the Discord. I don't know how to get in the Discord for the UKRI one either.
My God.
There's a lot of things to do with, the biggest issue here is I think a lot of the things to do with the UK is to do with football. I hate football.
Right. Yeah. All I see in FIFA is like them opening packs. That's like anytime I go into the FIFA category, it's just people opening those,
I think you mean real football though, don't you? You mean like actually like UK out in the sports field, sport ball, football.
All I'm going to say is we invented the language. So football's football, okay?
I agree. I'm saying you mean when you say they're all about sport, you're all football. You're saying that like, are you meaning that Twitch is like partnering with actual sports, or are they doing
watching
FIFA?
it? So reacting to like, I know this through Tom, but people reacting to sporting events is actually a very big lucrative market, right?
Wow.
So it's almost
on
like
Twitch?
I've seen people on Twitch. So there are people who are like watching the football, talking about what happened in the football right after a game will be promoted on the front page a lot. I know they do some stuff, but I personally haven't seen any correspondence or anything. And I definitely feel like it's nowhere near at the level of the Australian one. There's a big difference. You guys have a lot of events. I don't know if it's just because I'm not big enough that I don't see anything compared to other streamers as well. I'm not too sure, but
right.
Yeah,
so
I don't see a lot.
Scale maybe is like there are some massive UK and like Ireland and all those ones streamers, right? They're like some big ones in the 20,000s, 30,000, stuff like that. Whereas I don't think we really have many Australian creators in the ANZ region who are like massive. You know what I mean? Like we've got a few in the thousands.
Pestily is big. I'm just, sorry, thinking out loud.
No, but like I know there are a few, but like I just feel like, do you think maybe the scale is like there are way more large creators in the UK, and this might be the same as North America, right? That's where like the big boys and the big girls are, right? That like for them it's much harder to work with us, whereas ANZ, I think our like smattering of marketed like sizes kind of falls lower.
Yeah.
So it makes it like easier for them to interact with us. Or maybe ANZ are just simply better. I don't know. I'm happy to accept either option.
Yeah. But there's just like, I mean, I think it's like the ANZ region is just generally like a lot smaller in general from like a viewer based perspective and from a creator perspective as well. I think probably plays into it a bit as well.
You can tell from the front page, can't you? So like if you watch someone get put on the front page from America, they're on 20 something K, right? And then in the UK, you're probably lucky if you hit 4K, 4 or 5K is around it. Like that's probably the way I gauge what percentage, like how many viewers are from each area is what front page size we have.
I'll be front page tomorrow, and I feel like I'll probably only get around maybe 500 to 800 max from it, which is pretty normal. And that'll be like peak ANZ time. That'll be like 6 p.m.
6, 7,
Yeah, like I think I go live at 6 p.m., so a bit earlier than normal, and I'll be front page for about 2.5 hours, I believe. And that'll be like, I don't know, maybe we'll get higher than 500. Yeah. I've noticed recently sometimes you do tend to just like fall a little bit lower.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really good point because you're right. It has kind of dropped off in terms of the front page where you can hit the 1,000 mark, but recently, obviously with the pandemic kind of winding down, hopefully, the views have gone a little bit under for if you are on that front page carousel. Has it been the same over in the UK? Have you noticed in terms of like viewership numbers, things like that?
Yeah, both personally and from the front page. Like everyone, I think everyone's collectively taking a hit. I mean, we're getting our like 3 days of sun this weekend in the UK.
Ooh.
Our like designated plot of no rain. So I'm expecting things to go down. Also, I noticed yesterday, some things people forget about is holidays. Yesterday was Mother's Day.
Yes,
so in a lot of places. So I knew full well when I was going live, it's not me, it's Mother's Day. And I am proud of chat for taking their mums out, you know? It's the same when it's sunny. Like when people are like, oh, sorry, I didn't turn up. I was outside doing stuff. It's like, you're outside. Don't be sorry. Like, go live your life.
Every time. I don't know if you do the same, Eljayem, but every time people come to go, I'm so sorry I'm late to your stream. And I'm like, what the fuck are you apologizing about? Why are you, like, go out there. Don't watch me. Please do. I mean, watch me, but don't watch me. You know, watch the VOD.
I just hover over the ban. I'm like, if you come here and say sorry one more time, I'm just eating you. Like, you're just going. None of this. Go outside, have fun, get out on my stream.
Yes.
I try to bully them. They'll come in and they'll be like, oh, I'm sorry I'm so late. I'm like, mate, why are you apologizing to me?
Yeah.
Stop being parasocial, you fucking weirdo. Enjoy your life.
I've got telling chat off for being parasocial from you now.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's it.
You having a whiskey as well, cracking your Coke there?
I mean, it's midday now, so it's more acceptable.
That is true.
A little bit more. It's funny though. You actually are the person who kind of snapped me out of a bad spiral. So after all this internet stuff, people on the podcast, listeners know I've had internet issues. Lots of different ones, 4 or 5 different ones that have kind of cascaded back and forth from each other. And I came back, and about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I was officially like, I can stream again, right? Since then, we've had another internet issue.
Oh my God.
But that's fine. Whatever, I'll power through. But I came back and I was roughly only just scratching 100 average viewers. And I felt really rough because I was like, come on, like I need to be higher than this. I should be higher than this. What's wrong with me? And, I started talking to EO about this and I was like, oh, I think it's this, I think it's this, I think it's this, I think it's this, 6 paragraphs sent to you, and then you message me. I wake up in the morning and you've messaged me back because different time zones. And you pretty much just said, nah, have you not seen what's happening across all of Twitch? Mm-hmm. And I was like, wait, what? And I went and looked at everyone. I looked at like literally, as I said on a couple podcasts ago, I looked at like 24 different partners around our size, right? And I was like, holy crap. The only person who hasn't seen like a 50 to 40% drop in viewership in the past week was you, Reapz. And I was like, what? And I messaged EO back and EO was like, yeah, you giant galumba.
yeah.
I don't know,
obviously.
I try and, so I as someone who's in STEM, I kind of see streaming as a science. So I try and strip my emotions from looking at metrics as much as I can. Like I see it as like results from like an experiment. Like it doesn't deem whether I'm good or not. I'm just gonna study the metrics and see what if I change something in extreme, does that change the metrics? And I think I almost trick myself into believing that not everything I do affects, like it's not always to do with me. And it's not. Like there are 19 trillion reasons why your stream has lower viewers than it was yesterday. And some of them is just chat happened to be out doing stuff, and loads of them were doing it on the same day. And I think like if you can somewhat remove your emotions from your metrics, then things kind of, because it's so easy to be like, oh, it was me, I need to do this. But sometimes it's your time slot. I mean, I've seen issues with the 2 weeks where America's clocks go back and ours haven't. Those weeks are always rougher on Twitch as well.
Yeah. Yes. I fall into that a lot as well. I find it hard to strip away myself from metrics, so I don't usually look at them a lot. And when I do, I always go into this like stupid spiral, even though I know, as you said, the reasons are just, variables that you can't control. But obviously, I think it is important when you're first starting off to look back on your metrics, especially more so than anything else, to see where you popped off, where you got the followers, what you're doing at the time. Because a lot of people just like, I'll go live and I'll see what happens, as we talked about before. Nick, I cut you off. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. No, you're fine. It's okay. No, I was glad you mentioned that, because that was something I wanted to sort of like kind of touch on a bit more. Was you mentioned that you kind of treat your content like experiments, and like, I guess if you want to go into a bit more detail, like how you sort of judge whether something was successful or not, and how you actually learn from it, and how that helps shape your content as you go forward.
So kind of, whilst views are important, I think this might come down to what LJ was talking about chat vibes and stuff. Like, numbers are important, but the most important thing to me is chat. If I, like, at the end of the day, what's going to carry me as a streamer is not going to be how many viewers I have. Like, people are going to want to become a part of the community if you haven't a community already. If you've got, like, nothing to have, then people won't have nothing to join. So for me, regardless of numbers, it's going to be how active was chat, how fun was chat today, how memey was chat today, like, or was, the vibes really down for some reason? Did I do something that made everything like suddenly not energetic? Or what was the moment when chat were going wild and they like to riot and stuff like that, which bring in a lot of new chatters at moments where they can just spam a command and join into a mass riot, So for me, my success, like, whilst numbers obviously are important, like for things like, partner and stuff like that, numbers do matter. Like, at the end of the day, I think when I started focusing on a more active chat and a chat that felt like a community, that's when the numbers like went with it. And I think if people want to chat, then I think there's like a metric out there, isn't there, where if someone joins the stream and chats for the first time, they're way more likely to be a returning viewer than if they're
50%,
silent.
50% more likely.
Oh, wow.
If someone talks in chat on their first visit, so if someone joins your stream and on their first visit they talk, they're 50% more likely to come back, which a lot of people love to say, oh, it's cause and effect. Which one is which? Did they talk because they enjoyed it and they wanted to come back? Or, are they coming back because they talked? And it's like, well, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Like, you can cause and effect it till the cows come home.
Yes.
That is what the stat is. If you can engage someone to speak because your content is good, well, then they're going to come back. That is an actual measurable thing that says new accounts in your chat if they speak. I have a question for you. So I recently, during the Minecraft streams that I've been doing, okay, this is something I was going to message you about. Let's do it live. I have had a meme come up where my chat goes wild, and I encouraged it because I thought it was really fun and it made me laugh. And it's exactly what you're saying, where it's the sense of, they're going wild, right? And I measure my streams a lot by unique chatters per stream. And what I've noticed recently, I'm getting like the 350 unique chatters, which I'm really liking. And on the nights where I get that, you can see that the streams have been more fun. There have been more follows, more revenue. Not that it really matters, but it's still part of it. But I've noticed a few chatters don't like the meme. And I'm curious about this, right? So the meme is essentially, I built a house. I'm very bad at building in Minecraft, but I built a house and I used all this stained glass because I've never used stained glass before. And everyone's like, oh, you've built a church. And I'm like, it's not a church. We're not a cult. All right. We're not going to do that. So they start spamming, we are a church. This is a cult, right? Over and over and over and over again. Peepo legs banger. Yeah, they love it, which is one of the best emotes. If you have Beach TV, please get Peepo legs banger. It is cursed and so good. But essentially, they spam it, right? And I've noticed a few chatters are not a fan. They're like, oh, I hope this dies, or I hope this is this, or whatever it is, blah, blah, blah. Whereas for me, I see it as my chat having a really fun time. I see my unique views, my average views, my unique chatters, my first time chatters getting involved. I see a lot of really good signs. but there are a few people who are not into it. And I would love your thoughts. Have you ever had to deal with something like that? And how did you decide between encouraging a fun, active meme like that and having to also wean it? Because right now I'm kind of just in the situation where I'm like, yeah, just have fun with it, whatever.
I also get the thing, but for me, it's like, can you stop yelling? And I'm like, do you know me? Hello? Or they're like, can you play the game properly? And I'm just like, for me, it's at the end of the day, you're building a community that you want, right? And much like when we say not everyone's going to enjoy your content, not everyone's going to vibe with a spammy chat. Like some people really like a chat that moves slowly, and the streamer can spend loads of time responding to them individually and talking to them about it. And I feel like I can't provide that, and that's okay. I'm not. If I'm having fun, chat are mostly having fun other than a few people, I feel like maybe my content isn't for those people, and that's fine. I'm not going to appeal to everyone. And that's just the way, I mean, even in real life, not everyone's going to like you or gel with you. So if the overwhelming majority is enjoying it, and most importantly, I'm enjoying it, and it's the vibes I wanted from my stream, then whilst I am sad to lose someone, at the end of the day, you know, it's fine that they don't gel with the way I conduct my streams, if that makes sense. Like I'm never going to appeal to everyone.
Very similar to how you made the active effort early on to switch out of Pokemon to avoid your community becoming one specific aspect or not the kind of feel you wanted. And I kind of figured you'd say that, to be honest, because I feel like you have a very clear idea in your head about what you expect from your chat or what you expect from your streams. Like you have a very cultivated, very clear concept, and the things you do aim towards that, which I don't think many streamers do. I don't think many streamers are actively sat there thinking to themselves, this is the kind of chat I want. It's kind of what Reapz said earlier. Reapz said, I think most people come into this and they go, anything. I will take anything in chat. All I want is to be sitting here, look over and go, oh yeah, hey Bootyman69, how you doing? I don't care that you're calling me a terrible name. I'm just glad there's something in my chat today, you know? Like, but I think one of the reasons you've grown is because you've made an active effort to cultivate that.
I wasn't enjoying it. Like sometimes you have days where chat is everything you could have wanted, and you blink and it's been 4.5 hours and you're like, man, I've had the best heckin' day ever. And then some days you just have a chat where it's just off. You can't, it wasn't like any one chatter that made it like you needed to ban them or that wasn't on. It just all in all together was just a really rough chat day. You couldn't get anything going. It was, I don't think stale is the right word, but it's just not quite what you normally have. Like it's just off somehow. And whenever I was streaming Pokemon, especially like, you know, you can like smell the little kid energy from certain chatters.
Little kid energy.
Like their whole personality is child, and you're like, and it's just rough. It's rough. If you get if you start skewing younger and younger and younger, and you're someone who pulls off of chat to interact with, you don't, like, for example, adults can be memey. They possess the ability to meme at you and understand what's going on. Whereas a kid will ask almost always really game specific stuff. And when you're not necessarily focused on the game and you're trying to have a conversation and this kid's like, no, it's me. Talk to me. I'm here. Hello. Like it can be a bit difficult.
Or they whoosh.
Yeah.
They whoosh super, super hard. Like last week, I was talking about how I was getting these really targeted ads for a new service of AI waifu. And the ads are like on Twitter and they are aggressively sexual. Like it'll be like some anime waifu like taking her socks off in full screen like as you scroll through Twitter. And I'm like, why are you getting me these ads? I already subscribed to it.
I've already bought the damn model.
Like, it doesn't make sense to me. And I was talking about these ads and how I saw them on the train, how it's so embarrassing and all this blah, 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 blah. And I end the whole rant like, you know, kind of like a Seinfeldian rant that I've actually planned the entire story and rant beforehand. And I end the whole thing by being like, so anyway, I don't know. I just want to tell you guys about that and also give you a heads up that I took the ring off. I'm like, and my marriage is over. I'm now married to a replica because she's just better. And there's someone in chat who's got that, as you said, the smell of the little kid energy, types in all caps, what What do you mean? You left your wife for an AI? You left your wife for a mobile game? What? And I was like, look, I can take this as two ways. I can either take this as it's a child, or I can take this as I'm incredible at selling this.
Yeah. They've become
And instead
the
I
role.
just said, if you ever see a Frisbee or a joke, you probably have to constantly look up there, bud, don't you? It's all over there. And everyone else in chat is just poping like, what the hell does this like KW? And he's like, wait, I don't understand what's going on. And then we just banned him.
Yeah.
No, we didn't actually ban him. We banned a different one. You got to make sure you ban at least one child a night, I feel like, or else you're not really being a streamer.
It's like a
That's just
sacrifice to
hard
the
fact.
streaming gods, you know? I want to
It is.
I want
It
to
really
stay
is.
above this average, so I got to sacrifice this child and we're all good.
Yeah.
That's
like-
weirdly spot on though,
Yeah.
because I feel like having one annoying kid in chat does ruin your average. Getting rid of it does kind of spike your average sometimes,
Yeah.
especially on unique chatters. It's funny. I rated one of my moderators, Kresman. I rated him after one of my streams with like 200 people, and he looked a little nervous. And I thought maybe it's the 200 people. And then I clicked me. I was like, no, he's a little nervous about the 200 person raid because he's getting raided by me in the Minecraft category.
Oh,
So I'm bringing him
no.
200 viewers from Minecraft, and he's like, "Hey guys, how you doing? Yeah, I'm doing a crossword and just chatting right now. LJ, how are you?" And I'm like, "Good, enjoy this. I'm on a bed."
See ya.
And check
Have
your
fun with that
Discord
one.
for a rhino. Like the amount of rhinos that I've received.
Oh yeah, I just want to let you know about two chatters. Check Discord.
It literally it sounds like it's like you're just doing your daily weeding. It's like you're just getting the anti-child spray, you just spray and chat a little bit. Yep, it's like shoot them out. That's it.
But what is it about being like a child and having that mentality of like, look at me, look at me? It's like, mum, look at me, look at me. Like they have to say something that is like the most obvious thing in the world. And they need to have like that, well done, we'll put this right on the fridge, right over here. You know, like what is that? Because as soon as you see it, like you can immediately go, you're not the viewer for me.
Not only that, but
You know, Hex.
someone will be like, oh, 12 years ago this happened. And then they would just get a kid going like, I'm 7.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just
I
said
had
the
a
word
really weird
years.
one.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a really weird one. I had this guy being like, I'm 6'4". I'm 6'4", like in all different messages. I'm 6'4". I'm 12 years old and I'm 6'4". And I said, I knew you were lying the moment you said you were 6'4", but you just really had to push it home there, didn't you? And get the ban.
Yeah.
I was like, Hex said something really interesting. Hex was streaming with Barjo the other day, 2 ANZ creators. And Barjo has an alert where him pretending to be a small boy called Timmy appears. And Timmy's like, can you teach me how to make a red wire for Minecraft? Like messes it all up and stuff. And Barjo replies, because he knows the timing of all those alerts so well. So Barjo replies back, no, fuck off, Timmy. I'm not going to do it. And he goes, please teach me how to do it. He's like, fuck you, Timmy. And then like smacks the alert with his hand and it flies away. Like Barjo is so amazing with this kind of stuff, right? And Hex goes, what was that? And he goes, that's just Timmy. He's annoying. And Hex goes, don't you think that maybe that's just, a small child who's just trying to find a one-on-one connection because they don't have anyone else to deal with? And Barjo goes, nah, they can get fucked.
And he's an ambassador, a Twitch ambassador.
He is indeed.
Yeah.
He is indeed. But I think that's what it is, right? It's like kids come in and the kids coming in don't have that one-to-one connection with friends or all those things. And I'm going to say something and it's probably going to I'm going to say a demographic and I want you to bleep it, Reapz. Okay?
Okay, sure.
Because I don't want people to know that I'm saying this.
Okay.
But a demographic that comes into my chat a lot and always makes me feel uncomfortable. Ready to bleep?
Okay.
They have an interesting approach to social skills.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm talking like 10, 15 years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it makes me really uncomfortable with how they approach situations and talking to me or talking to others or becoming part of the community or stuff like that. And this is gonna be great because everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, what's the demographic?" And they're not gonna know.
Yeah, they're not gonna know.
Has anyone else like seen this? Maybe it's just like there's like a little bit of like a social gap in how to interact with people.
Yes. I have seen this and I've accrued this, but I think it could be more of an age thing, or people who don't really know the vernacular on the internet. You know what I mean? And they think that Twitch is not so much a means of just memeing, which basically it is. You just go, it's like, as I said, at the end of the day, I used to go on like freaking MSN Messenger or whatever you had at the time and just talk to your friends and emote. They don't see it as that. They see it as like, oh, I need to give my respected time to this and learn. Here's the question formatted out with the correct commas and apostrophes. And yes, I have,
Yes.
I have seen that. Yes.
I don't know. It's weird. It makes me, it's just, sometimes it makes me uncomfortable because one of the things I always talk about is how the fact that like, I can't know you guys. Like I can't know my chatters one-on-one and all those things. And it's like, I'm not going to be that guy who's like sitting there doing those things. And I feel like that particular demographic, they don't really understand that. And they're kind of like, they really want that one-on-one. And I feel just uncomfortable. Because I can ban a child for being a child, but I'm not going to ban that demographic because they're not doing anything breaking the rules. But it just makes you uncomfortable. I don't know. It's
Just a slight shift. Yeah.
it's thing is like I talked to Claire about this the other day and I mentioned to her, and Claire goes, "Oh, I have to deal with that all the time in class and in this and this and this because they've got that same demographic in her field." And she goes, "I think it's just a part of that group. Sometimes they're just a little bit too one-to-one or they don't quite understand the social boundary."
Yeah.
But on Twitch, it makes me uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable about everything, though. I'm fine.
I like if you're listening on the audio, Iona's just nodding her head to every time that LJ says, "Yeah, a little comfortable. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah."
Do you deal with this as well, EO?
I think I have the inverse of the gendered demographic. So there are, I think, also being a woman on Twitch, there are some big red flags, and unfortunately, some of the big ones are monetary that I've found, especially when I was smaller. You would get people coming in who would gift a huge amount, regardless of what size you are, a huge amount of money, and then unfortunately feel like they control you from then on out.
Yes.
That's a common thing we get. The other thing is if someone comes in and comments on looks, that's normally a red flag, especially. I feel like that's regardless of like how you present on stream. That's always a red flag if the first thing someone says is, "Oh, you're this, you're that." And
calling you a hot one and stuff like that.
Yeah, anything like that.
I think that makes
go bye-bye.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, I saw a great tweet about this. A female streamer who I follow, I can't remember exactly who it was. You probably would have seen the tweet. Anyone in the streaming industry would have seen the tweet. And she tweeted out, "It's true, streamers don't have mirrors in their house. So if you join a stream, one of the best things you can do is tell me I look really tired today."
Yeah, I did see it.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, well done, touche. We love hearing that.
That was great.
Love hearing that.
I just thought that was so funny.
Yeah.
It's interesting what you say about the red flags though. I think everyone definitely has them. And I feel like as a woman in content creation, your red flags are probably very different to mine. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like yours are probably very different to the ones that we've got as the three of us.
Also, the fact that I'm not 18 plus also means
on your stream.
Yeah, which also means that I've got to have, I think people forget about this. When you have the 18 plus, the nice thing is you will, in theory, have no children in your chat. Whereas when you're not 18 plus, not only are you doing all the normal moderating, but you're also making sure that adults and kids interact in a way that is acceptable. And obviously, one of the biggest things for me is, I know age is generally banned anyway, but for me, it's huge because I do not want minors to come out and tell adults that they are minors. So I think a lot of people forget that not having the 18 plus is more than just not having a foul mouth. It's a hell of a lot of responsibility in terms of like keeping your space safe for everyone.
Yeah. I'm incredibly strict on the same thing. I don't have the 18 plus turned on. I wouldn't say that I am aggressively 18 plus. I think that I swear and stuff like that, but nothing that a child wouldn't hear in high school, right? Like a 13 plus wouldn't hear in high school. And I checked with all the different rules and they said, yeah, no, you don't need to turn 18 plus on for what you do. But you're right. The age thing is huge for me. I just straight up have it banned entirely. I say, if you bring up your age and it is this or that, I will get rid of it. The same as in Stream Scheme.
Yeah.
In the Stream Scheme Discord, we get people joining because it's public Discord. They're not supposed to because it's 13 plus. When they write in the public intros or in the streamer collabs, hey, I'm 13 or I'm 14 looking to do this. And I'm like, I reply back to them saying, there are 60,000 people in this Discord. Like, the only real vetting we can do is get rid of people who you report or who I see doing something wrong. And at the end of the day, anyone can join with any account whatsoever. You as a person, you should not be putting this information out there. And they go back, oh, I'm sure it's fine. I'm like, it's not. It's also 16 plus. Goodbye. And I get rid of it. I ban them. But I always make sure they see me say to them first. I delete their first message and ping them. And I always make sure they know that I'm telling them, like, please listen to me. I am the adult in this situation.
Yeah.
Please listen.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. Make sure they see it first and then like just go. Please don't be here.
And then you get the I'm 15, but I turned 16 tomorrow. I swear.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not gonna ask you to send me your birth date, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna ask you to be like, yeah, send me your school ID so I know when your birthday actually is, so I can verify that, and I won't ban you.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, no, if you're not 16, get out. I'm really sorry. It's for your own safety than anything else.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's
It's crazy. Like, there are so many red flags, and we're talking about this as well. But when you start, obviously you have that base where children can come in. Do you ever see yourself going, you know what, I do want to put on the mature filter, but maybe, you know, like outside of Nintendo games, or when you want to do something a little bit different, if you ever want to do that? Do you see yourself going like, you know what, I don't really feel like playing, you know, Animal Crossing, Pokemon, whatever it is. There's something else I want to play, but I know that if I move over to that category, it's such a big shift from what I'm doing now that there could be repercussions that I don't want to lose out on.
So a lot of people think I put the 18 plus thing, like got rid of that because I was trying to appeal to kids or appeal to a younger demographic. I actually did it because I had a really bad problem with the tone of my chat.
Right.
Chat were allowed to use swear words, and the tone of chat was just ridiculous. Every other message was swear word, swear word, swear word. And I was sat there and I was like, this is not representative of me. I don't swear that much, and I think it's unnecessary, and I don't like it. Like, because the issue is with swearing in chat is sometimes people, you know, like for Brits and Aussies compared to Americans, I say a lot of swear words are just part of my daily language, right? They don't have any meaning to me. But as I know in America, a lot of words have a lot more of a negative meaning and negative impact when used.
Yes.
So there was a lot of issues with people using swear words and people taking things as insults, or the tone of things being just off and people unable to talk and interact in a good manner. So I actually made the shift of no swearing in chat, just purely because I wanted to change the tone of my chat. It was nothing really. I mean, it makes it safer for people who watch at work because that's a huge part. I stream in the day for Americans and for the Brits. So I wanted to be safe that if you left me up on work, out on like your workstation, you're not going to get in trouble. Was one thing I did it for. It's none of this was to appeal or to shift my demographic younger. It was almost all tone control and chat control. So I think we have been like pushing more, like I say I do adult references now, whereas I used to be very strictly PG-13. I've got like a part of me pushing forward in my career has been letting go of the control in some aspects. And I've let myself do more adult jokes. I think I don't think I'd do shifting to horror is not something I could see myself enjoying. If that makes sense. Like I started streaming because I have a passion for Nintendo. I've streamed some Lost Ark. But I struggled to get the chat where I wanted it to get. There was just not enough talking. Like, I don't know if you guys experience this, but like you'll be playing one game and chat will be talking about nothing to do with the game whatsoever. You switch game and they can no longer chat. It's the weirdest thing. They're just unable to talk
it's
about.
Lost Ark as well that happened to me. Like I was like, I'll try an MMORPG type thing. And it just shifted the whole dynamic of the chat. It was dead. Like I don't know what it was, but it was just like, imagine the tumbleweed sound. It was like that. I was like, what? I thought this would give me more chance to talk to chat because it's just monotonous things I've got to do. Is, you know, go point A to point B, hit the, you know, left mouse button a few times. That's it. And I was like, okay, I can talk to you and it's an online game. But yeah, I found exactly what you did here. It's just like, no, there's a big
they never talk about the game.
This,
it makes no sense.
Is there are two sides of this. Okay. You've got one side with your MMORPGs like Lost Ark, where they don't need to pay any kind of attention. I see the same thing with Genshin Impact for creators. You don't need to pay any attention whatsoever to what is going on because it just doesn't matter at the end of the day, right? Like you can come back 3 hours later, you're not losing any progress.
Yeah.
But then on the complete opposite side of the spectrum of people going silent, you've got games like Superliminal, where people are so interested in watching it and they want to see it that they don't chat whatsoever. And having that is like one of the big things for me that I've had to realize, right? And Minecraft, people are super active and super chatty because it's kind of like a mix. It's hardcore, so they're watching and they want to pay attention. They want to see that death, or they want to like make sure they're aware of what's going on, or they want to see what my challenges are today. But also, we can talk about anything whatsoever, right? Yeah. But when I played Superliminal, they went dead quiet, like literally dead quiet. Like completely silent. And I'd be like just going through playing Superliminal, trying to get them chatting and stuff like that. I even had one guy be like, come in and be like, you've got 100 viewers and no one's talking. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if that's the kind of thing you want to say to a streamer, buddy. I'm really trying right now. And I don't have my view count turned on. It's in my rules. And a bunch of chatters came out of the woodworks and were like, I'm watching the entire stream. I've got everything else closed. Yeah. I am just staring at this while you do puzzles and experiencing this. Because I want to see it. And games like Subnautica and stuff like that, when I got to the story moments, would go dead quiet. But then we go out to the survival moments where we're building and stuff, and everyone's super active again.
Yeah.
And so my theory here is that people, depending on what you're doing and what's on screen, even if you're talking about something completely different, people don't have different levels of how much attention they need to pay. And there's this sweet spot right in the middle where they sort of need to pay attention to what's going on, like with Minecraft Hardcore, because they want to make sure, is he going to die soon? What's going to happen? Or what's he building now? And then the other side of things where they also don't super have to do it and they can chat, right? And so you've got your two ends and you need to find that nice sweet spot that works for you in the middle, which I think Animal Crossing does very, very well for you. EO, especially when you do your like villager hunt, resetting the island, doing stuff, because they're kind of half paying attention because they want to see, oh, what's this one? She's used all her Nook tickets. What is the next one? What is it going to be? And then they're like, oh, it's another fucking frog. And they go back to chatting, right? But yeah, that's my theory. And Lost Ark, I think they don't need to pay any attention whatsoever.
Right. Yeah, no, you're right. That's a good viewpoint, because I know I was playing the other day, I was playing Poppy's Playtime Chapter 2 or something. And I've always instituted from day dot when I do horror games, I've got this thing called shut the fuck up, it's cutscene time, right? And everyone's got to stay quiet for the cutscenes, just so it kind of like fosters that thing of like, here's the story, and now we can go back to chatting. You know what I mean? So I'm, quiet sometimes. I'm thinking of putting like my camera off of the thing to people who are into the story, kind of. I'm not sure if it's like making sure.
What if a jump scare comes on in the cutscene?
That's the thing. That's the thing. So yeah, but that's what I've kind of fostered in terms of like, shut the fuck up, it's cutscene time is my go-to now to kind of go, this is story, but now let's get back to screwing around in chat.
Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned that, Eljay, because what you've been experiencing in Minecraft is kind of what I've been experiencing in the Outer Wilds, which is a game that I never thought I'd see myself playing until I was convinced to play it. And now I'm hooked, and everyone has just been engrossed in my journey through this game because I've done it in a completely different and stupid way that no one ever expected. And like, as I'm traversing the place, we're like chatting, talking about stuff. Then I'll get to these pinnacle moments, and then everyone's just like, "Oh, what room has he gone into now?" And I'm just like reading as the story is unfolding, and like that's when they go super quiet. I finish reading, and then everyone kind of comes back out and reacts to things. So you're completely right in that regard. Absolutely.
Speaking of different games, EO, you niched, right? There's no secret there. You niched hard. You went straight into Animal Crossing and you slammed into it. And we talked a little bit about you trying to spread into other categories and that kind of thing. I would love to hear your thoughts about how that has been going for you, because I believe, and totally correct me if I'm wrong, the first kind of like attempt into a real switch out of Animal Crossing was Stardew, like an actual playthrough, not just like, oh, I'm gonna do Mario Party kind of thing.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy it, which is why Stardew stopped. Chat were fine with it. Chat have been asking for more Stardew. I could not make it work for me personally. I love the game, don't get me wrong, it's a great game, but it doesn't work for my content. there's only so much you can mess around with the game. The clock was difficult for me to deal with while also streaming. And I love the game, and offline I'll play it as much as I want, but I could not get it to a place where I felt comfortable and I could get chat to be where I wanted it to be as well. So Stardew, I was a bust because it just wasn't for me. It wasn't my content. The nice thing about being Nintendo based is the Switch is quite nicer. There's only so many Nintendo first party games, and for the most part a lot of people only have Nintendo consoles. So if you're playing a different game, the chances are they're either looking to get it or they're getting it.
Well, I know you did quite well with Pokemon Arceus as well. How has that been for you? Have you found that you've seen any kind of drop in viewership or pullback from trying to do things like Arceus and whatnot, or what's the new one you're doing as well? You did a little bit of unpacking.
Yeah. And then I've got to figure out
Kirby,
yeah. Why did the Kirby cosplay,
and Kirby
which
as well
helped a lot.
The Kirby cosplay was
truly phenomenal.
cursed.
So
It was absolutely cursed.
I have this thing now where when there's a new game, I will cosplay day one of release as someone from that game. So I did a me recently. And my idea is that everyone loves to see a cursed cosplay, and then they'll stick around and see whether they enjoy the gaming content, which has worked out a lot better for me than going straight into the game. So I'll sit there, we'll get into my cosplay on stream, everyone will be chatting, and then they want to see me, I don't know, with Switch Sports, for example. That was a nice game because you can't really spoil that. Like, there's nothing that people want to play on their own. They just want to see you mess around. And so I was dressed up as a me playing Switch Sports, and some people who probably wouldn't have come into the stream if it was just me playing Switch Sports stayed around because it was cursed seeing my eyes never blink while playing a game.
I guess the thing that we always get asked, because we tell people to niche, right? We tell them, niche into a demographic, and they usually take that as, oh, you play one game? And it's like, no. So niche into a demographic, maybe one game for a while. But I guess the question I'm curious for you, right? Do you feel like the fact that you niched so hard into Animal Crossing made your unique content inside it, and now, correct me if I'm wrong, when you want to try a new game, you stream Animal Crossing for a few hours, and then you do like an hour or wrap the end of the stream up by adding the new game in? Is that still how you're doing it?
Yeah, that's so at the moment, that's the way I'm going about it. It's also because Animal Crossing is so easy to do whatever I want in, whereas Kirby, all I could do was play the story or, I don't know, fish or gamble away the points for the little figurines. But for me, feeling...
The gacha game is so fun. It ruined me night one. I spent like a good 30 minutes on the gacha machine just getting figures in Kirby. Oh my God, I'm addicted. But sorry. I guess my main question, do you regret niching down?
Absolutely not.
Or do you think, no, not at all?
Not at all.
Because we get asked constantly, how am I supposed to switch games and stuff like that? Have you struggled? Like talk me through it a bit, because all three of us have been variety since day done, right? But you took the smart path. And I think that might also be one of the reasons why you grew so much faster than us, right? Like, so I'd love to just hear your whole thoughts about the niching down, trying new things, how the transfers have worked, what your thoughts have been about it, to try to give those people who are worried about niching an understanding that can't really come from us because we didn't do it.
So the way I see it is people come for the game. So I found a lot of my followers through Animal Crossing. The thing, if you're playing the same game day in, day out for a while, eventually they're not here to see the gameplay. Like, they've seen you play it for like 300, 400 hours. Then once you've gotten them to the point where they really don't care what's on the screen, you're set. Like, I can probably, as long as it's not like something horror related, I can probably comfortably average over 70 in whatever I decide to do, be it flicking through PowerPoints or whatever, because although you will lose some people who are only there to see the game, and that's fine. Some people will only in their entire lifetime own Animal Crossing and play Animal Crossing. And that it is what it is. You're going to lose people regardless of whether you've niched down or not when you switch game anyway. But there will be, if I had changed game earlier on, I would have such a different core to take over, and it's so much easier to take a larger audience over than it is a smaller audience. So I think doing it while the game I main is slowly dying out has been the best way forward for me, because other people in my community are also looking for another game right now to play because they're bored of Animal Crossing.
I was going to say that would have been like maybe a slight panic moment after that last massive update came out. And then Nintendo was like, this is the final update for Animal Crossing. There's going to be nothing else coming after this. And so you knew you kind of had a clock on everything that you could probably do.
Yeah, I already had a plan. I have most of my content overarching goals already planned out, at least for this year. I had always planned on switching from Animal Crossing to Splatoon when that came out. I think for me, it's so rare to have a competitive game on the Nintendo Switch that this is going to be a really unique moment to try and ride on top of for a Nintendo content creator. And then obviously we have Pokemon coming out later in the year. I have my YouTube channel, which is we're getting there. We're getting there with general Nintendo content.
Nice. Just broke 4,000 hours of watch time.
Finally.
And I believe you will officially be YouTube partnered, or sorry, partnered means 100K, but YouTube monetized, which is awesome.
Well done.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm
Got
still
there.
trying to reach that 4K mark. I'll get there one day.
So can I, with your YouTube, I haven't had the chance to check it out. What are you making dedicated content for YouTube, or are you kind of repackaging stuff from stream?
I don't like repackaging stuff from stream. I think it produces my worst YouTube content and my worst stream content together. That advice has never made sense ever, right? Because when this is normally for smaller people, right? Like this advice of, use your streams as YouTube videos is normally for smaller people. Smaller people also have to keep a big eye on chat at the same time. It takes me 20 plus hours to edit down a video for YouTube from a stream, to edit out all of me talking to chat, all the bits that are relevant. And I always ended up doing a voiceover anyway. And it didn't quite work. Streams as YouTube videos are so obviously streams as YouTube videos.
They need a certain type of creator for it to work, right? Like I think it does work for some people. Obviously there are a lot of different ways to grow, and I think there are ways you can do it, right? There are plenty of them. But I just think that it's like such a strange thing, because I never used to give people this advice. I told people to make original content, you know what I mean? And then I started following the fucking same advice as everyone else and trying to do it, and it didn't work for me. And the video tonight going out on Stream Scheme actually talks about this. It talks about the fact that I took all this advice, which is objectively good advice, and it just fucked me, man. It just set me off on such a bad path. And you're right. Like, I feel like for me, it may work for some. Like, it works for Ludwig, works for Sman, all those people. But for me, the reason people come to my streams is they love the back and forth, interactive, stupid jokes and everything like that. And none of that converts into a good YouTube video. None of it at all. But I like a lot of your content, EO, because the OC content you do produce it's very tight. Like it feels like it's a good piece of content. And you're right, your stream couldn't really be that. You know what I mean? Like it's so hard to give the context and then keep people involved.
You can't do a YouTube video where someone is screaming everything they're talking about at you, right?
Well, I mean, Tommy and it exists, to be fair.
Yeah.
It just, the big thing I'm now struggling with is on TikTok and Twitch, everything is really personality heavy, right? Everything I do is about like, is me as a human doing things weirdly or like that, or just really based around the way I react and I handle things. I'm struggling to get that across on YouTube. Because content that might necessarily do well on YouTube isn't always based on your personality. And I think my personality is my unique selling point. So I'm struggling finding a way to get it across on YouTube that works. I feel like I'm very generic at the moment. I am like, at the moment, my unique selling point is being a woman, and it's working quite well in the thumbnail department, because everyone who does like advice and stuff, like the big people are all men at the moment doing advice and stuff like that, or Nintendo generic content. But I need to find a way to get me as a human into these videos as well.
Well, I think it's interesting because I watched one of the best streams I've ever watched the other day. Sorry, it wasn't anyone here. The other day, Ludwig did a sponsored daytime stream called the Ludwig's Aces Maverick stream. And it was a sponsored stream where he'd been given like 400 different thumbnails. Okay. And then he handed them off to his thumbnail maker and told him to cut it down to like the best 36. And then he was going to go through and pick the best 12 of those 36. So he brought Atrioc on, and it was a sponsored stream for like this Top Gun thing. Like Top Gun wanted to like do it, and he was going to pick the best thumbnail. And so him and Atrioc is one of the marketing department guys for NVIDIA, like one of the big ones. And then Ludwig is obviously, he started in marketing and then came into Twitch and YouTube. And so they're both quite on top of it, right? And what you're saying there about the personality-driven content and how it's hard to stand out because you feel quite generic was something they talked about a lot. Every time something came up, they'd be like, yeah, this is a really cool like world record thumbnail you've got, but why is your face in it? And they were like, why is your face in it? You don't matter in the slightest, which is so true, right? And one of my best performing videos on the LJ channel is the Hitman one, because Agent 47 is so well known. And when you Photoshop the gun out of his hand and put a camera in it like mine does, it stands out, right? And people go, oh, Agent 47 holding a camera, rather than who's this fucking generic white dude that looks like every other generic white dude on this platform with Hitman in the background of the screenshot, right? And they talked about this. They talked about it all, like how you make yourself stand out. And a lot of it came down to like consistency in your demographics and niche, right? So Nintendo is an entire demographic. People who like one might like another. And then you just kind of pick a tag to add to that. Okay, well, it's Nintendo challenges, Nintendo news, stuff like that. And then you make it all about those Nintendo games and kind of trend jack and focus on all of that. And then from there, it's literally just about being consistent.
Yeah.
It's just about consistently putting it out. And as you get bigger and bigger, you can start using your face in it.
So I found...
Right, and you can start doing those things. Yeah, go, sorry.
For the most part, so for Animal Crossing, there's a lot of female content creators in Animal Crossing, right? My face did not do well in that whatsoever. However, Pokemon did a lot better when I had my face in compared to a generic...
I'm sure the comments were great as well.
It was mostly about my looks and being female and me
Oh, no.
not being a good gamer as well added in. Oh, and fat comments. Fat comments.
Oh, gotta love those.
Oh, God.
There seemed to be something that popped up exclusively when I was doing Pokemon stuff. And I got, my favorite one was, have you tried going to a real gym? And I was like,
oh,
I was like,
what?
I was like, that's a pretty good one though. To be fair, at least at least they had some comedy
Don't
to
give
it.
it to them.
Don't give it that.
Don't give it to them.
Yeah.
But that's part of the internet.
Yeah.
In a weird, shitty way, isn't it? Like I hide so much of it and delete it, but some days I wish I saved some of the shit that I get on streams.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like every single video, it's like, hey, LJ, just a heads up, man. The beanie doesn't hide the fact you're bald, right? Like just like weird personal shit just going after you. It's like, man, I just made a video all about how to set up a fucking stream label. Why are you coming after me, right? Like, what did I do to you, you know?
But that's the other day. It's one thing to get like a comment, like when your Twitch is going. It's one thing to get a comment in your YouTube. The other day, I showed the boys, I got a personal email sent to me to my business account telling me all the reasons why I look like this, that, and the other, and I'm, hopeless, all this stuff, to my email account. Like, you've got to go out of your way to go, dear diary, or, dear Reapz, this is what I feel. Signed, love.
It was heinous.
BCC.
It was heinous, by the way.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was
fucked up.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
it was like legitimately some of the worst hate shit I've ever seen. Like, and he used his real name and his real name and Gmail and email address and everything.
That's why I was like, obviously I'm not going to reply to it. Obviously it's best just to let it go into the ether. And gang, like, I think the person may be, maybe not stable at the moment in terms of having to go to those lengths. But it is really interesting how people have to deal with hate, because you are going to get, as soon as you put yourself out there on the internet, there's no way around it. You can't just be like, no comments, no dislike. Well, they've got rid of dislikes, but you know what I mean? You will put yourself out there and you will receive something. It's how you deal with it. I always like to see if I can convert the troll sometimes, if it's not like a crazy one, hate raid, you know what I mean? When they come in, it's like, how are you on this? Or why are you doing this? Have you got this many viewers? I always try and see if I can spin it around and get them to go on board and actually follow me. Like, it's a little goal I set for myself. I don't have the same with anyone here, but it's like, okay, if I can, I've done it a few times, but I would say a 30% ratio out of the 100.
So,
yeah, well, you just got to troll them back.
Yeah.
I get asked for pictures a lot. So instead of just banning them, I negotiate prices now. So it's
Nice.
like show your feet, and I'm like, all right, bet, but not for free. Like, you know, Amaranth did not become huge because she gave feet pics away for free. You know, businesswomen are going to negotiate price. They tend to disappear when I tell them that the price of them. So I've had fun doing that.
But they don't get the reaction they want, right? Like that's the big thing is they don't get the reaction they want. And one of the things I found when the Optus ad was so heavily in circulation was the amount of hate that I had coming at me from randoms. And some of them were just heinous and you just get rid of them, right? But then there were other ones who came in like, man, I'm so tired of seeing your Optus ad. And or like they'd be like, fuck, your Optus ad plays so often. Like not super harsh ones, just ones like, you know. And those ones, I'd always try and make a joke out of it in reply. And like I'd often get them back saying, they'd often come back as a secondary or third message being like, I honestly just came here because I wanted to tell you that your ad was annoying, but you're actually pretty fucking funny, so I'll hang out. And it's like, I'll take that, right? Like I'll take that. But on the same thing, this kind of comes into the topic we were talking about earlier. I had someone come into my stream who'd been a chatter for like 8 months. 8 months, pretty normal, right? Totally fine. They'd been a normal fine. They were a sub for like 3-4 months, whatever it was. And at the height of the Optus ad, they came in and they wrote, oh, what do I have to do so I never have to see your cringy as fuck Optus ad ever, a performance in that Optus ad ever again? And I said back, hey, there's actually a surefire way that you never have to see my cringy performances ever again. And that's called get the fuck out. And I banned them. Yeah. Right? Because I was just like not having it. And people were like, LJ, you know, like not like in the chat at the time, but people were like, LJ, did you just ban like someone who was like a 4-month sub and had been here for like months and months and months? I was like, yeah, because that person clearly isn't the person we want in this community, right? Like that's not in any way what we're doing. I'm not going to, 4 months of subs is fucking $12. I don't give a fuck about $12 in exchange for being like, you know, having someone like have a go at me like that. Yeah. So I was just like, no, get out. Get out of it. I'm done with it.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. You do have to come down because as E was talking about before, people feel like an ownership. If they give you money, it's like they can say those things because obviously we're funding what you're doing. But really it comes down to the fact that that has such like a trickle down effect that you may not even know about at the time. Because then people are like, oh yeah, if he can get away with it or she can get away with it, then I can get away with it. And then it becomes this like kind of toxic cyclone thing. But can I just say, can we go on to more positive things? We have a thing called the Divine 9, Eeowna. And basically it's just 9 questions. And straight off the top of your head, just say whatever one you think is best. Would you mind doing that with us? Because it usually leads to some good topics or things like that. Okay, so here we go. First one: viewers, followers, or subscribers?
Viewers.
Who is your number one pick for a collab stream?
Ooh. Like dream wise, it would probably be Julian Solomita. Like dream. I love all of them. Or What If Julia, that kind of thing.
What you said, Dream the Minecrafter at first?
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, Dream? Want to do those man hunts?
I think it's very apparent that a lot of my internet appearance is inspired by the likes of Jenna Marbles and Simply Now Logical. I think I have similar, like the energy I try and exude into the universe is very much inspired by my love for them. So I think that's why I think Julian would be the absolute dream.
Nice.
Julian's my god. I'll be honest.
Oh wow.
I pray to Julian. He is content creator goals as like a person who wants to be a fantastic cinematographer, but he's also just like so wholesome.
Yeah.
PC or console?
Console.
Would you rather stream AM or PM?
PM, because I'm barely coherent in the mornings. So what people don't actually know about me is the fact that I actually have chronic fatigue, which people don't expect when you are screaming on the internet 4 hours, 4 days a week. But that is something I constantly battle with. So a lot of the times of streams and stuff, and why so for example, a lot of people with chronic fatigue talk about spoons, right? About how many spoons they have to do with a day. And what people don't realize is I may not be the same after a stream because I've used up most of my spoons streaming that day and like my internet ability. So I have chronic fatigue. So afternoon is when I'm like in my peak, and then outside of that is a bit rough.
This leads perfectly into the next question. Tea or coffee?
Coffee, obviously. Tea is literally just leaf water.
Yeah.
Says the UK Lian, just
I was
betraying
going to
your
say,
country.
I mean, if you are from UK, feel free to leave some comments. YouTube or Twitch?
Twitch.
Poggers or Kappa?
They ruined Poggers, so Kappa.
Lurk or chat?
Chat.
If you wrote an autobiography, what would you call it?
It would be something like Screaming into the Universe. Probably something along those lines.
Yeah. I like that. Screaming into the Universe, the story of Eojona. That's great. And those were all of them. So well done. Well done. We've learned a lot. You love Dream. You love all those guys.
Yep.
So well.
Dream
I've actually never played Minecraft, so not even once.
Best thing you do, build a giant willy. I mean, a rocket. Spaceship.
Rocket Willy.
Rocket.
LJ's got Willy on the brain. It's fun.
Yeah. I love that. I love that Scottish gardener. Anyway, should we get on to should we do the Q&A?
Yeah.
We've got some Q&As here, and I feel like maybe Eo's opinion on some of these could be a vibe, could be good.
Lovely.
Let me pull them up. Okay. First one is from Jennifer.
Hi, Jennifer.
Jennifer would like to know, they've said they have a few questions, but they're just going to give us one. Jennifer, we would have much preferred all of them. Just giving you a heads up. So Jennifer, I hope that you take this on board on your performance review as a commentator.
We should say before you do that question, very briefly, it brings up the great fact that we are doing a whole episode of Q&As. So if you do have Q&As, put them down in the comments below, everything like that, because we're going to answer all of them in one episode, one after the other. Yeah.
Yes. And Jennifer would like to say, I'm just going to start with one question. Did you guys ever have any kind of fear of success? And if so, how did you deal with it and move past that fear of success? Eo, would like to start with you.
So we're not looking at your metrics help you not realize. I think when you grow gradually, it's not something you really notice. I have noticed I had a friend who had a TikTok and it got I think it was over 4 million in like the space of a day or two, and got like, I want to say 2,000 followers or something on Twitch, and went from, I want to say 20 average to she had about 80, 90 the next stream. That I think really is difficult to deal with when you've gone from nothing to a lot all in one go. That's when it feels daunting. But when it's gradual, you barely notice it. If that makes sense. So if you're just gonna go along with it, and the next thing you know, you're like, oh, I've reached this level. Nice. Like it doesn't feel as daunting that way.
True.
Yeah, I think it's like a lot of people like have probably go through the same thing. Maybe not like from like a 1 to 2 day period, like complete switch, but even growing super fast within the span of a month or a couple months. Like they just don't know how to handle that just insane growth and everything that comes along with that. And so it's like it becomes more beneficial to have, like you said, to have that gradual growth where you can kind of ease yourself into how it's all going.
Yeah. For me, it's a kind of imposter syndrome at times. I'm not big by any means, but when you meet with people who think you're something, it's kind of like, I just, I'm just on the internet and I just, I'm in a room right now. I just see text on a screen. There's not like that kind of cohesion of like, oh, there's people watching me. It doesn't feel like that sometimes. I'm not sure if it's just me, but I do have imposter syndrome because it's like, what do? I play video games poorly and try and entertain people. I try and distract them for a bit, and to get recognition for some of the other things that I've done more so that I think were maybe better, like charity work and things like that. It's just a really weird juxtaposition that I don't feel validated by. It's like, what I entertained you for a bit, and that's great, but yeah, for me, it's kind of that hurdle of if we ever reach that thousands of people know us, we're followed. People want to get our autographs or anything like that. I think, I don't know how I'm going to handle that, but I do know that I try and keep my personal life personal. And once I hit the stop streaming button, once I've done, YouTube's or TikTok, I try and not look at a screen and I try and just walk, and just listen to a podcast, like get out of my head of streaming. I think that's a good way of dealing with it. It's like, because when you think you're the whole world and you think that people think you are that, it's nice to just be like, no, I'm just one person in the freaking billions that are just trying to survive more than anything.
Yeah. I think the imposter syndrome is probably the biggest thing I've had to deal with for this, because obviously for me, it's not like, oh yeah, I just go and make joke funny and people follow for that. Like people followed because of Stream Scheme a lot of the time. And because of that success that I had with Stream Scheme, which happened really quickly. It's like when one video picked up, they all picked up. And that, if you followed Stream Scheme, you would have seen there was a big space of time last year where I wasn't uploading. I was uploading like once a month. And the reason I wasn't uploading much, I tell people it's because I was spending more time on the scripts and stuff, which is true. But the reason I was spending more time on the scripts was because I just felt like there was no point to me giving advice. Like I honestly believed like I'm an idiot. Why would anyone ever listen to me? Like I had so many extra people judging me, and I had to be held accountable that if I said the wrong thing or this or that or whatever it was. And there are so many people in the streaming education space who sell snake oil. That's the only way to put it. Like they sell just they push lies, right? Like, and I never wanted to accidentally fall into being like that, right? Like every single video I do, like people will be like, oh, he's just doing this for the money or to help himself grow. And it's like, well, obviously those things are bonuses, but with Stream Scheme, I legitimately like love working with creators, right? Like that is like a big thing for me. I used to teach at a university. Yeah. I used to spend hours doing peer mentoring for younger audiences and stuff, for younger year levels and stuff like that. Like education in the creative space, I love, right? And Stream Scheme is really great for instilling that into myself and for working with others. But it also sets this really high bar for me where I have to the fear of failure and the fear of success go hand in hand with all of that. Because if I release a video and the data's wrong, or I say something wrong, or the information's wrong, or in a video I said megabits instead of megabytes once, and I got chewed the fuck out, right? And it's like, it's a small thing. You go, why does that matter? And it's like, well, yeah, it doesn't matter when it's just a one moment, but when you've got 100 people commenting that you're an idiot, then suddenly that success is terrifying, right? Like, this is gonna sound really dumb. Some people love it when their videos get picked up by big creators. Like H-Rock was like, yeah, Asmongold watched my video and I got a bunch of views on it. If I ever find out that a big creator has watched my video, I legitimately have panic attacks. Because all I'm expecting is for that person to rip me apart and call me a fraud, call me a fake, say all this stuff like that. And I don't believe that I am those things, because I've worked quite hard to get to where I am, and the things I say.
Yeah.
But I don't have thousands of viewers, right? Like Devin Nash could sit there and go, well, this guy doesn't have thousands of viewers. Why would you listen to him? You know what I mean? And the only thing I'd have back to say is, well, I'm talking about how to do between 0 and 100. I've done that, whatever. But like, I guess to me, I kind of wish that in my success, I could live in my own little bubble. And I kind of did that for 2 years where I was like, nobody touch me or talk to me, please. I'm just going to do my own thing in my own little bubble. But the longer you're in your own little bubble, the more likely you are that you're going to lose everything. You know what I mean? And you got to experiment, and if you don't experiment, then you dry up anyway. And I don't know. So to answer your question, I don't think there is any way to deal with that fear of success. Because in our industry, the only thing you can summarize our entire job down to one thing, and that is you are putting yourself out there to be judged. That's literally all it is. Yep. We're going live to tell jokes and to be judged either in a good way or a bad way. We don't want the bad way, but it's probably going to happen. And that's just something you have to come to terms with. I don't think there's a special magical spell to fix that. And if there is, it's probably therapy.
I mean, unless you're Shroud, or you're at a high level, like esport, competitor. Like there's, where people are coming in for, your gameplay and how skilled you are. But like that's the two sides of content creation. It's like either personality, kind of entertainment based, or it's the other side of like esports. You're constantly looking inward and you're constantly putting yourself under the microscope of what you could be doing better, or like what is it that, is your best qualities and how do you best show that, and how do you not let the other stuff get to you? Or you look at, a lot of people get caught up comparing themselves to others and looking at other people going, oh, why can't I be like that? Why, instead of just, they don't realize that they themselves are the best quality. And Eo, you touched on that a lot, a bit ago as well. It's like that what I love is you never lost sight of who you are. You always know who you are and what you do and what is best for you, and you were so strong in that. You've never swayed from that path, and I think that attributes to a lot of your success and why I think you love content creation so much, because you make it what you want it to be, and you don't let anything else get in the way of that.
Shall we do the next question?
Yeah.
Okay. Next question is from Dakota C55. After watching a few episodes, I hear you guys talking about bad networking a lot. What does good networking look like, and where can that be done? Are there any specific places or ways that you all recommend doing good networking?
All I can remember is you raiding me, saying, "Are we friends?"
Did I raid you saying?
Yeah, because you were on the stream, right? And you were like, "Oh, Eo, we're friends, right? We're friends, right?" And then you realized you were like, "Oh man, I've just asked if we're friends in front of my whole chat." And then I decided
you
did that to me too.
So I decided to just leave it a few minutes and let it fester. And then that day you raided me, and with the chat just saying, "Are we friends yet?" The world's most parasocial raid.
I mean, we've talked one-to-one privately. I don't think that's the same as parasocial, excuse me. And also, if it was parasocial, you watch me a lot more than I watch you, to be fair. Or you have in the past watched me much more than I've watched you. So
he's snapping at the moment for our audio listeners. He's doing the yell snap back.
But no, what do you think about good and bad networking? Have you experienced any of that, Eeowna?
A ton. I hate the word networking personally. If someone comes to my chat with the motive of getting something out of me, I don't want you in my chat. Like the content creators I end up doing stuff with are people who I gel with because we enjoy each other's content and we hang out, and it just naturally leads to doing something with them. The other thing is also, I guess you've got to figure out quickly whether you class your relationship with someone as a business or an actual friendship. I think too many people have it, and you've got to be on terms with each other as well. Too many people will have one thing and it's a friendship and the other a business relationship. But I don't like it when I'm approached on stream. Like, we should do this.
That's the worst.
Or
hey, quickly, just before we move on, actually, just gonna ask a question here. Are we business or friends? Are we business?
So now you're parasocial on a podcast too. When will this stop?
I mean, you want to give me an answer, or
I think we're friends, not like business friends.
Okay. And Reapz, just gonna look down because I think you're below me, or I don't know where you
are.
Punch
right now, and I'm
I just gotta hey man, how you doing? Hey. I just gotta ask Reapz,
sure.
Are we business or are we friends?
So the next question was about bad working and good networking. No, of course. I reached out to LJ a long time ago, and I was like, okay, obviously I thought this guy was amazing at what he did in terms of the videos, and I was like, oh, he's Australian as well. And I was like, this seems like a cool dude to hang out with. Since then, I've changed that opinion, and obviously I'm that friend who hates the other friend, and then we just have this kind of battle in terms of who can annoy each other the most. So we're at that stage at the moment. That's the, you can tease the other person to such a degree. So definitely friends. Otherwise it would be mortal enemies for sure.
I was after the Sea of Thieves the other night.
I was bullied, Eeowna, like you bullied me in Mario Party. Like everyone bullies me. I can't.
I lost Mario Party.
We all have our roles to play. Sorry, what's that?
I lost Mario Party. I was the one who was bullied by my inability to count and add up.
Those were good times. Those were good times.
That was hilarious that you would have won the game had you not just bought it. If you just didn't buy the second pipe. Anyone who doesn't know, that'll be a video soon, actually. My editor that has come on is going to be working on that very soon.
Ooh.
Also, if we're talking about good networking, just going to read a little message out here. December 3rd, 2020, 6:04 p.m. from an account I did not follow, but did follow me. Hey man, just wanted to say I stumbled on your guides on YouTube and think you're doing a great job in both YouTube and the Twitch arenas. Okay?
Who is this guy?
I know how hard the climb is, so it's nice to see an Aussie rep for that Twitch dream. All right, well, really likes the dream.
He
SMP.
sounds good. He sounds good.
If you ever want to do a co-op stream one day, let me know. Casual. I liked it. Left it in my house. Left it in my wheelhouse. I replied. Not right away. Didn't want him to think I was desperate. But I give it 44 minutes. Actually, I give it 54 minutes.
Okay.
Almost a full hour, but not a whole one.
Yeah.
Hey, mate. Thanks for the kind words. Just working away and straight back at you. Looks like you're killing it. All right? And then I do a follow-up 7 minutes later. This may sound odd, but you're the first streamer to reach out who has a decent-sized following and has been doing this for a while. I took a look at your clips and VODs as well. You're smashing it. Glad to have another Aussie around. All right? I thought it was a nice thing to reply back. And then he sends me a message. Don't talk to me, you little piece of shit. I'm coming for you. If you ever talk to me again, I swear to God, I will sue your ass until you are in the ground.
I like him.
And I was like, all right, this makes a lot of sense. No, Reapz replied, thank you for the kind words, my friend. We weren't friends yet, by the way, Reapz. So you've clearly crossed the boundary.
I'm sorry. I parasocial.
I think it's nice to collab with people who have the same ambitions and quality. I hope your work is going well. I'm finishing some back-end stream scenes as we speak, I think that was a lovely little exchange. All right. But he never did anything of it. I want to point that out. Reapz, you initiated it, but you didn't bring me anything. And you always taught me, you said good networking is you bring them the plan, so it's easy for them just to say yes because streamers are lazy. But you never brought me anything.
PogChumps, podcast. Those are the two things.
Those were years later, sir. Excuse me, because you can see the next message in that conversation is, hey man, happy holidays. And this is me.
Yeah.
Sorry for the out of the blue message, but I'm looking to do a video in January about advice for streamers. And I just kind of give you the pitch. I lay it all out really clearly, exactly what I'm doing, what I'd like to do, the questions I'm going to ask, everything. I give you all the details. I'm in, brother. Let me know how you want me to do it. All right, yeah.
It's a two-way street. You see, if I didn't reach out to you, this would not be happening right now. You know what I mean? Like, you got to put the feelers out there. You got to do.
Damn, we're airing some dirty laundry right now.
But what I would say about good networking rather, is I think it's going to be a lot better to do now for the simple fact that with the world opening up and cons happening, like with PAX and things like that, when you go to those places, you are going to have that face-to-face, which usually is just like a digital, because I know when it comes to digital, sometimes you just get bombarded with stuff. Like, sometimes I'm not sure if this happens with you, but you go into your spam folder in the email and you realize, oh my God, somebody was actually reaching out to me who's pretty big, deal, and it just went to my spam folder. So the fact that we can now go and see each other face-to-face, I think it's more of a better bond when it comes to networking, rather than just like a throw it into the ether and whatever flies. So yeah, following up on stuff is probably a good one that I learned just then. So there we go.
I'm just gonna leak one last message from Reapz. One last message.
Okay.
A little bit of a back and forth about the episode that we want to do for the video, which is a great video, by the way. I think it actually got a decent amount of views too. And I just wrap up my message being like, it's really cool. I want to have some more Aussies down here because we're all the right time zone. Yep. And if you know anyone around a similar size, let me know. I'm keen to check out as many creators as I can to get them involved in the project, because I wanted to feature a bunch of creators on Stream Scheme. Doesn't mention anyone else. Doesn't mention any other creators. Doesn't say anything. Just writes back, yeah, ... Fuck those Northern Hemisphere scum, winky face.
Let's just say that we don't know if this is true or not, okay?
I will put a screenshot
have the
right
receipts.
now.
There's things called Photoshop, and it can all happen, you know? Like, this is a besmirchment, and I'm not going to deal with it. So this will be cut out of the podcast, most definitely.
Just hard cut.
Just hard cut to like a
Man,
technical
this ended
difficulties.
pretty abruptly this week.
Yeah, just everyone go bye.
Here we go. I'm just dropping something in guest general right now.
What do you mean? This. Don't look at it. This is photoshopped, and I don't want to deal with it anymore. This is unbelievable.
It's real. It's
How do you do
real.
it so quickly?
It's not even anything. What?
I'm not beeping out the
Exposed.
demographic beforehand. It's going.
I can't believe we're cancelling someone on stream. I love it.
Oh God! I knew it would end like
gone.
this. Oh, I knew my DMs being leaked. Oh God!
You got to get the.
all of the international viewers are just they're just going.
Just
They're
got no
that's it, you've
viewers
lost
next
them.
stream. They're like, "How dare you?"
Reapz Googling how to fake cry for YouTube video.
Get dog in frame. I started off with.
Yeah.
Jeremy, this is going to be a really hard
one.
video.
Those card lottery boxes. Oh, sorry. Yes. Sorry.
But essentially, there's some good networking, and then there's the way Reapz networks, and we've all
learned a
thing or
valuable
two.
lesson today. Never listen to Reapz.
Dragon Boy Phuket says, my question for you is, with all the large streamers leaving Twitch and heading to YouTube, do you see it as a positive thing for your growth and the growth of smaller streamers, i.e. little fish in a big pond or big fish in a little pond scenario?
Makes no difference. I feel
Yeah.
like makes not like they're not viewers that I was gonna get anyway. Loads of them just watch big streamers and that's it as well. There's a ton. I feel like there's a ton of viewers who only watch huge people like TV shows and with no goal to ever interact. Like they watch it, they're there, they're a part of it, but they never say anything. And when that streamer goes offline, they're offline. And those are unlikely to ever, no matter how many of their favorite streamers go, unlikely to ever become my viewers.
Very true. Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. That's 100% all it is. And I think that's what you said earlier about why the fact that you had people convert over to becoming Twitch viewers from TikTok was so powerful for you, because those people didn't have streamers they were already watching. And we know for a fact, we've asked to run polls, run all sorts of stuff. We know when people come to Twitch, the first thing they do is go to their follower list, and then they go to their favorite streamer. That is the two major pathways. People don't go wandering around Twitch very often. And there's going to be the contrarian in chat who's going to go, but I do. And it's like, okay, well, you are the 1% of that.
Also, a lot of people who go around are most likely streamers. Okay, we probably go around to find other cool people from a streamer perspective of, I wonder if there's any small people who are really cool and making amazing content. And I will click around like the Animal Crossing section and go, whoa, like this person's insane. Why have they not got more views? I don't really see normal chatters who aren't streamers doing that type of thing.
Yep.
Yeah,
Completely agree.
No, 100%. Yeah. They don't, because they have what Reapz calls comfort viewing, which is they just go straight to where they want. And people are going to be like, comfort? I don't watch Animal Crossing. It's like, no. It's different to that. It's literally any viewing that is just easy and routine for you, that it's not hassle. And that's fine. But those people are very unlikely to cross-pollinate between multiple different streamers because they just don't explore. They just really just don't. And if honestly, this is a really hard thing for people to hear, but if a streamer they like watching isn't online, they won't go to a different streamer. They'll often just go to YouTube.
Yeah. Yep. Dead on.
That's like, it's just a hard fact of it. They don't want to spend the time to find someone, get a 30-second pre-roll. Oh, okay, I'll just leave and find someone else and try to find the right person, because they know they've got dozens of people over on YouTube who they like watching, or even their favorite streamers' YouTube content is there that they can just go and absorb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It makes followers feel like they mean so much more when you actually think about it. Like when people are like, I've only got X amount of followers, but it's like, it's so difficult to get new followers. Like,
Yes.
it's wild.
Yeah. Like, and that's, I think, why like raids are so powerful as well, because there's such a huge barrier to people actually going and discovering new people to watch. So when you have someone that actually brings a raid over and they're like, you know, they're giving you the chance to expose yourself to these new viewers, and a lot of the times that's all you really need. One of my mods came from a friend of mine who only streams Apex, and she raided me one night, and like, you know, a year or so later, he's a mod for me. So it just it's how it goes sometimes, and that's why raids are fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%. I think they're incredibly powerful. For a long time there, I had raid anxiety, where I didn't like raiding because I didn't like the anxiety of having to find someone.
Yes.
I didn't want to bother people and blah, 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 and all that stuff. But as I've gotten to know more people, now there is like a handful of people who will always be live that I can bother pretty much. And it'll be like, you know, like I'll raid you, EO, or I'll raid Nick, or my mod, Kresman. And usually it's just like, yeah, hey, everyone, I'm going to raid this person. Everyone's like, oh, we love that person. All right, we're off. Bye-bye now.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
and they go off and they have fun. And the reality is, even if we're all on this podcast together, or, you know, EO, who's a part of the community and people know them, they're not going to stick around. This is really weird, but like the reality is the majority of them will just leave instantly and go off to YouTube or somewhere else because they just do.
Yeah.
I think people
Like a lot of the time, it's just, yeah.
people think the power of raids is in the people that are brought over, but I think the power of raids are the lurkers who haven't noticed they're in a different stream yet, who bump up your average and put you higher up on the directory to find genuine people then who will naturally find you.
Yes. Very, very
100%.
Very
That
good
is
point.
literally, if I get a big raid from someone of like 200 viewers, in my head, I instantly go, that is 50 extra average viewers that are offline and lurking that are essentially going to boost me for the rest of this stream. That's all it is. Like I convert it down. I instantly go like a quarter of these people are most likely just entirely lurkers, and they are asleep. Like, you know what I mean?
I do that.
Like-
I fall asleep to
like
streams,
it's- It works 100. Like in my head, that's how it runs. Like, and especially when I get raids from the lovely members of the stream team, I'm a part of the Celestials. They always raid each other, and there's so much back-to-back raiding because they know each other so well that they always end up with like big chunks of full lurker mode. And the moment I get raided by one of them, I'm like, that I appreciate those raids so much, because it's like it doesn't matter that 100 people instantly leave, because I know there's this huge chunk of boost in the category. That's a really interesting point you bring up there, EO, actually. But otherwise, that's all our Q&As for tonight. That's everything people were asking us over on the YouTubes and stuff. But obviously, we'll have more Q&As coming in for next week's recording. So please do comment them down below.
Yes.
And EO, do you want to shout out all of your socials and everything like that? Where do you want them to go, right? So here's something I've learned. If you throw out all of your information, it won't be as effective as picking one.
Yeah.
Where do you want everyone to go?
Go to my YouTube. I have quite a lot of curse content on my YouTube channel as well. You've probably, to be fair, you might have seen me on TikTok and not realized it's me, because most of my TikToks that have gone viral, people don't know that's me. I found the issue with going viral with a cosplay TikTok like I do is people don't realize it's you until you bring it up.
Yeah.
It kind of gets rid of the recognizability of your face. But yeah, go to my YouTube. It's the same name as my Twitch. Curse Nintendo content with the occasional helpful tip or trick in there. Sometimes.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
Lovely.
I think it is a good one. Everyone should go and check it out.
Yeah.
Okay, weird question for you before I'm assuming we're going to start dropping frames soon. We've been live for a while. Weird question for you, EO. Would you want them to subscribe first, or would you want them to watch the content, see if it's for them, and then decide?
Watch the content. Oh my God. There's nothing worse than I found this out the hard way. I used to push really hard on stream for people to come over, and it was my subscribers were going up, but the viewers were. I've learned that native, like organic followers is probably the best thing you could ever get in the world, and everything else doesn't matter.
Lovely. I've got one more question for you, EO. It's a very important
Sorry,
one.
I already said the last one. I already did.
Check your Twitter DMs. It's about scum. What I'm going to say is, we do a thing at the very end. It's a call and response. So basically, chat will say something to you, and you respond back in kind. So each week, we've made them up on the spot. So I believe last week's was Wawa we were something or rather, and we've got to respond with "Don't you dare objectify me, you piece
was-
of yeah."
Wowza, we were. What a hot one.
Yeah.
Hey, we've got to respond with "Don't you dare objectify me, you piece of
Shit.
shit."
Trash.
So it doesn't have to be that, please. That's grandiose. That's LJ, you know?
That was
That's LJ trying to see how far he can push the statistics.
LJ. What does that mean?
That's you trying to push the statistics to see, will I get away with this? How is it going to affect their and then do a whole video about it. We know it, okay?
All right, how's just fucking
He gets out more drink. Hook it to my veins. So if you would like to do a call or response, what would you like chat to say? And then how would you like us to respond in kind?
Oh my God, I have no idea.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one. I'm sure LJ can pitch some ideas. Nick, you can pitch some ideas. I'll think of some.
Wowza wee one. What a hot one.
The only thing that comes to mind is the dodo thing that happened the other day, EO.
Oh my God, I messaged LJ and I was like, Nick came into my stream at the worst possible moment. And LJ was like, no, there's always a worst possible moment. Like, this couldn't have been that bad. And I was like, I was doing a striptease. I was mid striptease because I had a green shirt on underneath and a shirt over it. So I clocked on because I didn't realize I was wearing a green shirt till like partway through the stream. And I decided to place myself in a really weird position on the screen. And I just stared into the camera and I was had jazz music going. I was unbuttoning my shirt piece by piece, trying to keep it together as much as I could. And there's just chat going, like, what is happening? And then Nick's like, hi. And I'm there like, hi.
I'm like, yeah. It was literally that moment. She's like, bam. And I'm like, oh, well, this is an interesting moment to come into stream.
All right. Well, we've got to play off of that. So what would be something dodo is a good response or a starter there.
I don't know.
Can I see your dodo?
Can I see your dodo?
Yeah.
Okay, so chat says, can I see your dodo? And, Eeowna, how should we reply to chat saying that to us?
I just thought of something that's not PG. I was going to say something like,
Perfect
sure, let
PM.
me unbutton my pants, but I don't think we can go down that route.
I'll say that.
Yeah. LJ, so that's LJ's response. What's our response?
I'll just be like, one moment, please.
Yeah, I think that would be the best way to go.
Oh, that is good. That's clever.
Okay, can I see your
That's
dodo?
clever.
One moment, please. That is the call out. That is the call out. So
And I will say, one moment, please, while I unbutton my pants.
There you go. There you go. Just get like a little sound effect on the stream deck, just like the little sound, like the or an unzipper. as well.
okay.
It's Velcro.
Yeah.
I have Velcro pants.
Velcro pants, perfect. Just get Velcro.
You psycho.
Yeah.
If there's one thing that turns a woman on, it's a man in Velcro pants. Specifically tearaways.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Anything you would like to finish off with, everybody, before we head off? And again, Eeowna, thank you so much for coming
you for
to
having
do
me.
this podcast. It's honestly amazing to get your perspective on everything and to see how fast you've grown. I did like 18 months and you've done all this. It's honestly, I'm jealous and I feel like a failure. No longer got the
PhD
imposter
as well.
syndrome.
I became a doctor in that time.
Okay, all right. God, can I see your dodo?
Became friends with me as well. That's pretty up there, right?
Yeah.
Wait, what was that?
Became friends with me as well. That's pretty up there, right? You know?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So on to the important
And
stuff.
on that note, thank you everybody for watching this week's podcast.
We are dropping frames. Have a lovely weekend. We'll see you all later. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.